The special presentation of Fox Sports Net. And what are you going to be for Halloween this year? How about a cowboy? Maybe a cadet? Be it witch or warlock, goblin or ghost, it's Halloween and football. Someone is bound to be toast. The 8th-ranked Aggies. Texas A&M is on a mission for the Big 12 title. Led by tough guy Dat Wynn, the Aggie D is poised for whatever the Oklahoma State Cowboys can throw or run at him. A linebacker, place kicker, quarterback, or ref. The number 8 Aggies will put Oklahoma State to the test. A running back here, a tackle there. It's time to watch the fans give a scare. So don't miss out, and don't you fret. Texas A&M and Oklahoma State on Fox Sports Net.
The Big 12 regular season is now in the home stretch, and tonight from Stillwater, Oklahoma, it's a Halloween homecoming as Oklahoma State looks to keep their bowl hopes alive as they host number 8 and the South-leading Aggies of Texas A&M. Back in 1997, OSU led A&M by 15 in the fourth quarter. But with 43 seconds left, Brandon Stewart connects with Chris Cole for the score. The two-point conversion tied the game and sent it into overtime, where Tiki Hardeman took it in from 6 yards out to give A&M the 28-25 overtime win, which was an inspiration for the Aggies for the rest of the year. Hello again, everybody. Along with Artie Gigantino, I'm Ron Thulin, and a lot has changed at the quarterback spot since that game. Brandon Stewart is now on the bench, and OSU's Tony Lindsay has struggled.
He's struggled. He's been a hot and cold quarterback so far this year. But last week against the University of Oklahoma, he had his best outing of the year. On the other side of the field, Randy McCowan is 4-0 as a starter. He's only completed 14 passes in the last 3 games. But what he does a great job of, he runs the option at the line of scrimmage with an audible, but he does a great job of throwing play-action passes. Look for a lot of play-action passes tonight and options out of both. Interesting, not only game, but a quarterback matchup.
It's a great matchup defensively. We are going to have some of the best linebackers in all of college football. Dat Wynn of A&M, he's a Butkus Award semifinalist. And for Oklahoma State is Kenyatta Wright. We've got the Aggies and the Cowboys next.
Come on, baby. Chewy stuff. Work it hard for me, baby. Can't get enough.
Nice shot.
All the
Who's next?
boys, they're watching you. You really work it, woman. You know that's true. And when you do, you'll be my little baby blue.
Hey up, boys.
Seems like everybody wants to get their hands on a pair of Duckheads. The original American khakis since 1865.
Hey, Mayo, what's hot?
Fiesta 44 combo.
What's up with that?
Go to Taco Mayo. Get 44 icy cold ounces of Coke plus any 3 of these. Crispy tacos or beef burritos or beef soft tacos. A humongous treat, 3 fab foods and all for an easy $2.95. Fiesta 44 combo.
Awesome!
It's right now at Taco Mayo.
Taco Mayo! Oh, yeah!
You'll be surprised.
Texas law officers, the men and women who lay it on the line, support Jim Maddox for Attorney General. Maddox's opponent has never prosecuted a criminal case, has no law enforcement experience, and says he won't even emphasize law enforcement. Law officers trust Jim Maddox, a proven prosecutor for Chief Law Enforcement Officer of Texas.
As Attorney General, I have one standard. No matter who you are, that you play by the rules. They call it tough. I call it equal justice under the law.
Hi, Tom Bodette. Well, this is what I looked like back when I was new. And this is a new room at Motel 6. When I was new, a new room at Motel 6. Cute, huh? I'm Tom Bodette, and we'll leave the light on for you. To show off their renovated rooms, Motel 6 is doing its first big special effects commercial ever. Here goes. Cool. I'm Tom Bodette, and we'll leave the light on for you.
Making it to the pros takes a certain level of excellence, the experience to get the job done right, and a reputation for quality. Like top quality CarQuest shocks and struts, professional technicians choose CarQuest gas charged shocks and struts because they can be confident they're installing the best ride around.
So for the best possible performance, install what the pros install. CarQuest. Welcome to the pros.
Barbara and I have known him for a long, long time, and everyone in our family strongly supports him. You have a good man. He's demonstrated his integrity and honor in office.
Rick, I look forward to having you by my side. It's important that Texans elect Rick Perry. He's a man of honor, he's a man of integrity, and he's trustworthy.
My heart is where Barbara's is, where George's is, in the Perry corner.
Rise and shine. 30 minutes of your morning, a day's worth of sports. Fox Sports News this morning. Weekdays starting at 6:30 on your Fox Sports Net Regional.
Welcome back to Stillwater, Oklahoma. You're watching College Football Saturday on Fox Sports Net.
Only the third home game for Oklahoma State this year at Lewis Field. They are 2-0 thus far. It is raining. It has come down heavily at times, but it is a homecoming Saturday. And on the sideline, braving the weather and going to talk about the linebackers, here's our Eric Clemens.
We heard you guys earlier talk about the exploits of course, the star linebackers of both these teams, Kenyatta Wright of OSU and Dad Wynn of A&M. But both of them have linebacking teammates that arguably deserve as much attention. Take a look at the numbers of number 32 for OSU, Terrell Knowles, 38 tackles, is fourth on the team. He has 9 for a loss, which ranks second, and 4 sacks, tied for first. On the other side, the senior, the 3-year starter, Warwick Holdman, 60 tackles, third on the team, 12 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, 8 passes defended, and 2 forced fumbles, all ranking number 1. We'll chart the progress of both those linebackers as the game wears on. And of course, for R.C. Slocum, he wants his defensive unit to shut down that power offensive running attack of the Oklahoma State Cowboys. They call them the Wrecking Crew. They'll need to do a lot of wrecking and flexing tonight, fellas.
Thank you, Eric. R.C. Slocum will be celebrating his 54th birthday next week, and here's the scouting report on the Aggies.
Well, the Aggies, the first thing, what they've got to be able to do, their defense has got to stop the inside run of Oklahoma State. They've got to control Lindsey, not only in the option game, but also when he scrambles. But lastly, their offense has got to make some big plays in the passing game against this blitzing, man-to-man Oklahoma State defensive unit.
And for the Oklahoma State Cowboys in his 4th year, 50-year-old Bob Simmons in the scouting report on Oklahoma State.
Their offense has got to keep the A&M defense off balance. Throw the ball on 1st and 10. Throw the ball on 2nd and short. But do things a little bit out of normal. The other thing that's got to happen is their defense. They cannot allow a bunch of big plays. They've given up too many big plays this year. And lastly, as a team, they must reduce their penalties.
Let's take a look at the South standings right now. The Aggies with a 1-game lead over Texas, who has defeated Nebraska in the upset today. And Texas Tech with the loss to Missouri. They are at 3-3, and Oklahoma State still with bowl hopes alive. In the North standings quickly, it has changed today. Kansas State 5-0, their big win over Kansas. Missouri a big winner, and Nebraska the loser this afternoon, and those are the North standings.
A lot of good football teams in the Big 12, as evidenced by those records.
And back to receive the kick for the Cowboys of Oklahoma State. It is Jamal Fobbs, Reggie White, and Willie Grissom. And we are underway. Kicking with the wind. It is Jamal Fobbs, and he'll take a knee, and Oklahoma State will begin 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. And for the Oklahoma State offense, it is Tony Lindsey coming off his best game in recent weeks. Last week versus Oklahoma, the success of this offense depends on this young man. It also depends on a very big offensive line led by the center, Jeremy Offit. Offit is the steadiest of the big guys up front. And at running back, it is the coach's son, Nathan Simmons, averages just over 4 yards a carry. Simmons and Akins in the backfield for the Cowboys behind Tony Lindsey. Just a sophomore, had a tremendous freshman year. Simmons will try the left side. The Wrecking Crew defense is there to wrap him up after a gain of about 1. Cornelius Anthony on the stop. And the NCAA number 8 team in defense, the Texas A&M Aggies. The line features 2 sophomores and a redshirt freshman anchored by nose guard Ron Edwards. And the linebacker spot, it is Warwick Coleman who leads the teams in sacks and also in tackles for a loss. And in the secondary, Rich Cody, the strong safety, the leading tackler in the secondary. They give him one, 2nd down and 9, and Simmons will flank wide to the right, 2 wide receivers to the left for the Cowboys. Lindsey, 3-step drop, a little lofted pass, it is complete to Willie Grissom, the senior out of Oklahoma City. That is his 13th reception on the year. That was a nice touch pass, Artie.
You know, and that's what I was talking about in the open, about keeping the A&M defense a little bit off balance. And what they're doing, they're moving around. And Lindsey does a wonderful job of just floating the ball up to Grissom. Grissom goes up, catches, and obviously gets knocked out of bounds. A lot of movement in this offense tonight from Oklahoma State.
Pickup of 19, 1st and 10, ball on the 40-yard line. Marcellus Rivers in motion, the big tight end, but they're going to keep it on the ground as Simmons, left side, big hole. Pickup of about 7 on the play for the junior out of Boulder, Colorado. Had a knee sprain, and he was questionable at the beginning of the week, but this is an exceptional young man. He graduated in 3 years, set a record for most hours passed as a freshman. Plus, he plays football, Artie.
He's a power back and obviously a great young man, and him being the coach's son has never interfered with his play.
Already has his degree in psychology, working on his master's. 2nd down and 4. Simmons, 1st down and then some. Keeps his feet moving into Aggie territory before Rich Cody, who leads the team in tackles, brings him down.
The one thing Oklahoma State can do is run the ball inside. We saw that against Nebraska. We're going to see it again here tonight. You're going to see Simmons get the ball off tackle. It's a zone play, and the smaller A&M defense is getting blocked up front. It is a good job, though, by Simmons of continuing the run and breaking a couple tackles. This is a zone play running right at the A&M defense. It's power running.
Simmons already 19 yards on 3 carries. 1st and 10 for the Cowboys. Ball on the A&M 41-yard line. Fumble, the ball is loose, and Oklahoma State comes up with it. Sean Berry, a sophomore tight end out of Detroit, Michigan, scoops up the pigskin. Looks like the rain has subsided a little bit, but we may see a lot of balls popping on the turf tonight.
And that's the one thing they don't want to have happen tonight here at Oklahoma State, is the ball being on the ground. It might happen with these wet conditions, but the ball just gets jarred out of Simmons' hands, and a great job by Barry there of finding the football and recovering it.
Bob Simmons telling us that technically he's still rebuilding this program, but he's done just a wonderful job. Last year going to a bowl game, still has his sights set on that this season. On 2nd and 10, Lindsey with his 2nd pass of the evening, wide open, another 1st down. Again, it is Willie Grissom. How did he get so wide open to pick up 15 on that play?
Well, he ran a curl route, which means he's coming back inside from an outside position and looking for the pocket, so to speak, in the coverage. He's very valuable when he gets on the corner, but he's also valuable when he finds guys like Willie Grissom to throw to.
The numbers on Grissom, 1st and 10. Cowboys, who have struggled in the first half this season offensively, not having problems on their first drive thus far. And Oklahoma State's going to call a timeout. Only 10 men on the field for the Cowboys. Lindsey recognized it along with Willie Grissom, and both of them are whistling for the timeout.
And you know, Ron, Oklahoma State has got Texas A&M a little confused tonight. You see a lot of movement on defense, not knowing where to line up. One of the things that they do so well at Oklahoma State is give you a variety of formations with different people to confuse the defense.
Well, they did that against Oklahoma last week, and R.C. Slocum telling us last night that that was something they were concerned with because they threw out everything last week against the Sooners, and he knew that they were going to do it again tonight.
Well, so many defenses line up according to the tight end, but when there's 2 tight ends in the game, or 3, or the one of them's lining up as a wide receiver, there's an element of confusion there.
Well, his defense has been making the plays thus far this year, and they're going to need to make a play right now. We even have alumni cheerleaders here in what is billed as the largest homecoming in college football. We asked him what it was based on, and nobody was quite sure about that.
I think it was based on atmosphere and fun.
Well, of course, this week the Bowl Championship Series first rankings came out, and it was really no surprise except UCLA vaulted in front of Ohio State.
Well, you've got 4 undefeated teams, and obviously the lower the number, the higher the standing. I think this is a questionable series, though, because it's convoluted to me in terms of what has to take place in order for you to be the number 1 or number 2 team. We'll see what happens, though, by the end of the year.
Here's an interesting formation. 3 wide receivers to the right, Love, Richardson, and Grissom. Penalty flag. Must have been movement because the play clock still reads 10. Our referee this evening, Steve Juszczyk. A lot of experience on this officiating crew tonight.
Turn to the snap. False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
We talk about the effect the rain has on the players. We ran into some of the officials last night here in Stillwater, and first thing they all asked, is it going to rain tomorrow? Is it going to rain tomorrow?
They don't like to get wet.
No, I don't think so either. They got to take notes too. First down and 15. Ball pushed back to the 31-yard line. We've played just over 3 minutes here in the opening quarter in Stillwater. It is Simmons, left side, slips and falls. Not before he picks up about 5 on the play. Roylyn Bradley out of Lamarck, Texas on the stop. We talked about Offutt at the top of the show in our lineups. Here's one of his blocks.
Jeremy Offutt, he's number 7. He's going to come out right there, and he just does a good job on that win. Knocks him down, maybe a little bit of a push there, but it wasn't called by the official. That's a good job by this 22-year-old senior. And, you know, he told us he feels like an old man because he's 22.
Hell, he's played tackle, he's played guard, he's played just about everything. Fobbs and Simmons now in the backfield. Fobbs splits out wide to the left. Grissom, right side, gets a block, looks for the 20. Does get to the 23 before Rich Cody, the senior out of Dallas, Texas. Richardson Pierce High School runs him out of bounds. That'll bring up a 3rd down play for the Oklahoma State offense.
Sean Love is the wide receiver out here who does an excellent job also of blocking on Jason Webster. Good wide receivers, if they block in the running game has a chance to go on the perimeter. That was a good example of a wide receiver blocking.
3rd down, we'll call it 6. Keep an eye on the big tight end, number 85, Marcellus Rivers for the Cowboys. Lindsey from the shotgun for the first time. He's got it. Play gets up to the 20, and he is nailed, and he will be 3 yards short of the first down. Michael Jamison, a strong safety, the sophomore out of Killeen, Texas, on the stop. And Oklahoma State will have to settle for an attempted field goal.
When you have a mobile quarterback like a Tony Lindsey or a Michael Bishop from Kansas State, you want to utilize him as a running threat as much as possible. As you said, Ron, a design play there. He's like a running back playing quarterback, and usually he's very effective.
Chris Olupka, the backup quarterback's the holder. Tim Sidness has hit his last 4 field goals, make it his last 5. He is now 7 of his last 8, and the Oklahoma State Cowboys strike first here in the opening quarter. 10:26 left to play in the first, and Oklahoma State takes a 3-0 lead over the Aggies of Texas A&M.
They say for every boy and girl there's just one love in this whole world, and I know I found mine.
Here's an idea. With GTE Caller ID, you'll know exactly who's on the line.
Nope, not the kids.
So you can decide whether to pick up or not.
Mom? Dad? Home early. Hello? Is anybody here? Hello?
May I help you?
If I wanted a Whopper, no pickles, that wouldn't be a problem. But would we get to hear you sing?
No, sir. You get to hear us sing.
Hold the pickle, hold the lettuce, special orders,
May I help you?
If I want my value meal with rings instead of fries, is that a problem?
Value meal with rings or fries, it still costs the same great price. You don't have to ask us twice to have it your way.
When you have it your way, it just tastes better.
Are rich people taller than the rest of us? Are their loved ones more deserving of an airbag? Was the sun created solely for their enjoyment? Are we the only car company that doesn't think so? Century by Buick. Full of amenities for under $20,000. Loaded for under $24,000. Century by Buick. A luxury car for everyone.
Along with Eric Clemens and Artie Gigantino, I'm Ron Thulin, welcoming you to a very wet Stillwater, Oklahoma, and the rain is starting to fall again heavily here this evening. That is Russ Schwetman. He will kick it away for Oklahoma State. Sidness with the field goal, giving the Cowboys the 3-0 lead. A&M has had a lot of success with their kickoff return team. Their average start on field position has been good. Schwetman kicking into the wind. From the 10, up to the 25-yard line. As we look at the starting lineup for the Texas A&M Aggies, Randy McCowan, the junior out of Jacksonville, Texas. His 5th start of 98. His scrambling has added a new dimension to this ball club. And on the line, the right guard is the biggest in the R.C. Slocum era, Samisi Haimuli, the first Tongan to play for Texas A&M. And in the running back spot, Dante Hall. 3 of the last 4 games, he has cracked the century mark running the football.
Keep your eyes on number 28 tonight. Toombs, the big fullback, who's having a great year.
Randy McCowan took over for Brandon Stewart. He's added a lot of energy to this A&M offense. Jamar Toombs, the fullback. Dante Hall, the I-back. McCowan, 3-step drop. Pass is complete to Chris Cole. And he dropped it. One thing that they want to do is throw the ball early, and they did, just didn't complete it. And the Oklahoma State defense haven't played well the last couple of weeks. The defensive end, Andrell Waddle, loves the big games, and this is one of them. Middle linebacker, Kenyatta Wright, the big hitter of this group. And in the secondary, the free safety is Ricky Thompson. Coaches say he is a big-time defensive back. 2nd and 10 now for the Aggies. Hall goes in motion. The big fullback over the right side, and Jamar Toombs is going to be gang tackled. Toombs to camp at 270 pounds, dropped it a little bit, but he didn't get much help up front.
You know, watch these guys up front. Watch Big O Hamuli pull number 62. We're going to be looking at this all night because it's a key for A&M to be able to run the ball inside also against Oklahoma State. That time Oklahoma State had too many guys around the line of scrimmage.
3rd down and 9. A&M only 34% on 3rd downs this year. McCowan from the shotgun. He can be dangerous. Has some time over the middle. The pass is complete up to the 48-yard line. Matt Bumgardner, a junior out of Luling, Texas, only his 3rd reception of the year.
Ray Dorr, the quarterback coach, has got a lot of confidence in McCowan's ability to throw the football. That time he's in a shotgun, he looks downfield and finds his man open in the middle of the field. It's a good delivery that time.
He adds so much presence in the huddle, Randy McCowan does, but he showed much patience in the pocket on that one. 1st and 10, ball on the 47-yard line. Out in the flat, didn't fool anybody, pass is incomplete. Ricky Thompson with a nice play from that free safety spot for Oklahoma State. Intended receiver was Sir Parker.
Well, you were just talking about Ricky Thompson and his ability to play the safety position. That time he read it perfectly, came up and knocked the ball out of Parker's hands. That was just called anticipating the play and doing something about it and reacting to it. This is a good defensive football team. Their only problem this year is they've given up too many big plays.
2nd down and 10. Two tight ends for Oklahoma State. A lot of movement. Great job by the center, Seth McKinney. The redshirt freshman. I think he saw Oklahoma State jump and he snapped it.
That's exactly what happened, and that is the mark of not only a good center but good coaching by the offensive staff from Texas A&M. Might as well get the free 5 yards while you can.
You know, he's just a redshirt freshman. His brother was Steve McKinney, played for the Aggies, now with the New Orleans Saints. But Oklahoma State wanted to attack this young man.
Well, I think they're making a mistake about that because I believe he's a good football player with a great future.
Defense, 5-yard penalty, Repeat second down.
Well, we know he's a smart guy, that's for sure. Now watch what happens here. The right defensive tackle is going to come across the line of scrimmage just a little bit too soon, and then McKinney snaps the ball. Good heads-up play by the quarterback and the center.
Alton Weaver couldn't bring that 275 pounds back quick enough. Second down and 5. McCowan on the option, splits the defense. Will be close to the first down before Dwayne Levels brings him down. Ricky Thompson helps him out. Probably be about a yard short. What does Randy McCowan add that maybe Brandon Stewart didn't have? And that's not something bad against Brandon Stewart.
You just saw it. He can run the option. They didn't want to run the option with Brandon Stewart because, quite honestly, he's not as fast as McCowan. And in this league, with blitzing defenses, you need to run some type of option against all the man-to-man coverage.
And the rain comes down again in droves, blowing from right to left. Hall and Toombs in the backfield on 3rd and 1. Toombs bangs over the left side behind that big offensive line, and he gets the first down. He had all 200-plus pounds, depending on who you believe. What did he tell us last night, 256?
Yeah, he said he was 256, but Alan Cannon, the sports information director, said he's 263. So we'll call it 260 as we look at the rain.
That's a little weather shot. Now, they said there was a 70% chance of precipitation, so we brought 70% of our umbrellas with us. Unfortunately, it's really coming down and the wind is blowing. The numbers on McCowan this year, he's got him in 1st and 10 with 8:07 left to play in the first quarter. Out in the flat, the pass is incomplete, intended for Derek Spiller. We saw the tight end Spiller of Texas A&M. Marty, do you think this is the best 1-2 combination for tight ends in the Big 12?
Absolutely, and maybe the country. Both Dan Campbell and Derek Spiller are big people, both 6'4", 6'5", 250-plus pounds. They both can block, they're athletic, and they both can catch. So, yes, I think it's a deadly combination. And both will play in the National Football League someday, and the A&M coaches want to use them more tonight.
Spiller led him in receptions last year with 25. Second down and 10. Oklahoma State showing a 4-man front. The linebackers are up. McCowan's pass in and out of the hands of Chris Cole. The pass was there. I'll tell you, McCowan had some zip on that ball.
And what he did at the line of scrimmage, he audibled to that. That was a 3-step drop. He is given a lot of flexibility tonight. He sees something in the defense that he feels he can throw this slant against. Now, Cole, in his defense, that ball was a little bit wet. It went right through his hands because normally he would make that catch.
And he's shaking his head. He knew it.
Yeah. Hard to catch the wet stuff, though.
Exactly. 3rd down and 10. Ball on the 39-yard line of Oklahoma State. McCowan sees some pressure, swings it out, pass is incomplete, intended for Hall. Now, the Oklahoma State defense said they haven't played well in 2 weeks, but that was a pretty good stand.
Texas A&M looks a little jittery to me. You know, they're just not as crisp as they've been in other games this year.
Well, they were a little jittery last week against Tech, don't you think?
Started off slow. When you and I were watching the tapes with the rest of the crew, we felt that it started off a little bit slow last week against Texas Tech. And I think you're seeing the same thing here tonight.
Shane Leckler, number 6 in the NCAA in punting, standing on his own 46-yard line. Terrence Richardson is back. A line drive kick looking for the corner. And he gets it inside the 20 once again. That'll be his 15th kick this year inside the 20. It only goes as 33, but boy, how big is that, Artie?
Well, that's what you call a corner kick, and that's why Texas A&M plays very well on defense, because of punters like him.
David Dewhurst is proud to be running for Texas Land Commissioner on the ticket led by Governor George Bush.
And David Dewhurst, the next land commissioner, is a conservative business leader who knows what I know, efficiencies and sound management practices that are second nature in business.
David Dewhurst, a successful conservative businessman committed to providing our children with the best education possible. For Texas, the choice is clear. David Dewhurst, a George Bush Republican for Texas Land Commissioner.
In conclusion, Mr. McKean, we would appreciate it if you would finally sign the Declaration of Independence as we sent it to you in 1776. Thomas Jefferson, 1779.
Many things you know about famous dates are wrong. Like
like having to wait until January to see the new 99 Mercedes. In fact, you can see them now at your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer. As for McKean, he finally signed in 1781.
It's been said that youth are our most valuable natural resource. Young people, with the help of adults, are the leaders of tomorrow. Organizations for youth such as 4-H and FFA are very vital for the development of our future leaders. Pete Patterson understands all too well the importance of encouraging our young people in their quest for growth. Vote Pete Patterson for Texas Department of Agriculture Commissioner.
Political ad paid for by the Pete Patterson for Ag Commissioner Committee. Pete Patterson, Treasurer.
College Football Saturday on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Thrifty Car Rental. Great cars, great rates in over 70 countries worldwide. By GTE, the official telecommunications consultant to the NCAA. And by Marriott Hotels, Resorts, and Suites. We believe when you're comfortable, you can do anything. And Eric Clemens will wear anything to stay out of the rain.
That guy looks like a defensive lineman or something.
Doesn't he?
Having a good time.
Needs to see a dentist. Akins and Simmons in the backfield. Cowboys will begin 1st and 10. Ball on their own 6-yard line. Their backs are against the wall. Grissom in motion. Simmons slips before he gets the handoff, able to corral it. He almost lost the handle on that football.
Looks like A&M made some adjustments on the sideline. They didn't have as much defensive movement that time when Oklahoma State ran motion.
Jason Webster got the penetration, but you saw just how wet this football field is right now. Now the rain's starting to slack up just a little bit. Officials doing everything they can to try to keep the footballs dry. Pick up a 4, 2nd and 6. Again, Akins and Simmons. Nice fake, flip it out to the right side, crossing the 10 up to about the 12-yard line is Willie Grissom again, as he's been the main target so far tonight. Now it's time for a Dr. Pepper game break, and what a game in Lincoln, Nebraska this evening. Late in the game, in the 4th quarter, Nebraska was leading 16-13 when Texas quarterback Major Applewhite rolls out and connects with Wayne McGarity for a 2-yard touchdown pass. Texas upsets Nebraska 20-16. That is the biggest win in the young career of Mack Brown in Austin. And we are back in Stillwater. Cowboys leading 3-0. Lindsey on 3rd down and 3. Pass is incomplete. Intended for Terrence Richardson. And the Cowboys will be forced to kick it away.
You know, that was a great job by the secondary that time from Texas A&M. Tony Lindsey had nowhere to throw. And, you know, we talked about in the open him having a hot and cold year so far. He played really well last week against the University of Oklahoma, and the coaches felt he played very well tonight.
Scott Elder set to kick it away, the freshman from River Ridge, Louisiana. See the numbers on him, averaging just over 42 yards a kick. He's had a couple blocked this year. A&M showing only 6 on the line of scrimmage. A low kick. Chris Taylor is going to let it bounce. Gets a good Oklahoma State bounce. Inside the 40. And it's still rolling. And they'll finally touch it at about the 37-yard line. A 52-yard kick for Scott Elder.
And the wind stopped that one.
Pistol Pete trying to stay dry. His Cowboys lead by a field goal.
There's a lot of things that set A&M apart from other universities. The quality of education that you get at Texas A&M. It has great resources, the traditions of A&M. The network that's out there of Aggies is just so vast. It's not only just a degree that I got from A&M. There's a great deal of responsibility that goes along with that. Responsibility to maintain the integrity and the high moral standards that an Aggie is supposed to have.
I am declaring martial law in this city.
Denzel Washington, Annette Bening, and Bruce Willis.
Right now, right here, I am the law.
The Siege.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dan Deerdorf. Where would you go for a home equity loan? Let's ask.
Oh, banks have the best rates.
But banks only lend money when you don't need it.
Advanta National Bank is different. They lend money to people when they need it.
Right. With my credit,
They made their first loans 45 years ago to teachers who had trouble borrowing. They helped out when others wouldn't.
This is a bank, right?
With customers who get the flexibility only a national bank can offer, right over the phone.
Got to move all your accounts there.
Nope, just call Advanta. One of their loan specialists will show you how to use the equity in your home to pay off all of your bills. Get one low monthly payment and save hundreds of dollars a month, plus a tax deduction.
You'll wait for some board to approve.
You'll get fast approval over the phone. And your money in about 10 days. You don't need to have money in the bank to get money from a bank. To get the loan you want, call Advanta at 1-800-707-5276. You'll see they're different. Hey, they don't keep bankers' hours either.
Eric Clemens back down on rainy and wet Lewis Field, where Oklahoma State leads A&M 3-0. And the topic of the day, he who has the most dry balls wins. Right now, we were told before the game, Oklahoma State brought 11 balls for this one, and Texas A&M brought 12. They can also bring an unlimited number of ball boys to hold on to them, but it looks like no distinctive advantage for either team. Teams can use unlimited numbers of balls, but they'll have to run back in the locker room to get a fresh 6 as the officials bring out 6 for each half. Guys?
Well, Dante Hall didn't get very far before Alton Weaver locked him up, and you can't have any kind of ball drying equipment here. You can only use a towel, but the official told me last night already he had a Michigan game where Bo Schembechler brought 36 balls.
Yeah, to keep them dry. Yeah. And the reason you can't have some type of machine that drives the ball because it expands the football. I learned that in a science class once.
What is it, football 101?
Yeah, football 101. It expands the ball.
Instead, you're throwing pumpkins out there. It gets so heavy. Loss of 1 by Hall. McCowan rolling out, looking for something, and he's not going to find anything but an orange jersey. Andrell Waddle, the senior out of Columbus, Texas, with his first sack of the year. That's the Oklahoma State defense that we saw last year, Artie.
Yeah, and they're really fired up tonight, as Coach Ryan told us they would be. You're going to see Waddle here at the top of your screen come across the line of scrimmage and just keep going up the field. He's a mobile guy. He's not very big by today's standards as a defense, but he's active and he can run around and he can contain the quarterback. That was a good example of it.
Now, Coach Ryan wanted to set the tone early defensively. He said, we want to come out, smash mouth them around a little bit. So far, they've done it. A&M 3rd and 17. 4.5 to play in the first quarter. McCowan, he's dangerous. Still on his feet, lets it fly, has a man, incomplete. Intended for Matt Bumgardner. Kenyatta Wright is the one who really put the pressure on Randy McCown.
OSU's got a fast defense, and you see the ball delivered to Bumgardner. He turns around, he says, hey, I'm wide open. Throw it down the field, throw it down the field. Randy McCowan sees him, but just overthrows it. That's good play, though, by the young wide receiver of finding a way to keep the play alive. That's heads-up football.
Leckler standing on his own 16-yard line. First kick was 33 yards. A line drive, backing up Terrence Richardson, back to the 14. Looking for the wall. Has some running room. Crosses the 50 into A&M territory. Richardson's longest prior to that was 13 yards. This one is 33.
Coming into this game, Texas A&M felt they had a large advantage in special teams. Not so fast on this play. That's good open field running by Richardson. He gets up the field, and he just gets a lick put on him by Warwick Haldeman. Good tackle in the open field.
Great field position for the Cowboys, operating with a short field, already in A&M territory. They keep it on the ground, and their wrecking crew defense just stuffs them big time. Jamal Fobbs didn't get very far. They are number 2 in the conference, number 14 in the NCAA against the rush, this A&M defense. They held Ricky Williams of Texas Tech to just 94 yards, held the Red Raiders to 94 yards rushing.
You know, when you say the word Texas A&M, you think of defense throughout the years.
Exactly. Great linebackers, great defense. On 2nd and 10, Lindsey, a little play action. The rush is on. Flips it to one of his linemen. You can't do that, Tony Lindsay. It looked good. Unfortunately, Adam Davis, the big left guard, he's not allowed to catch anything. I don't think he could if it hit him in the hands anyway.
Well, you know, but he came here, Ron, as a tight end.
That's right.
And he's put on like 60 pounds since he's been here. But he hasn't played tight end in a long, long time.
Well, next week on College Football Saturday, it's a rival. Air Force and Army get together at West Point in an annual grudge match that defines the passion and pride of college football. Check your local listings for the games and times in your area. Air Force today beating the Mustangs of SMU 31-7. Randy McCowan's younger brother, is the quarterback at SMU.
And this is one of the few games of Randy McCowan that his parents will miss because they were in Colorado watching that game.
I tell you, that's tough for that parents. They also have a son who's a high school quarterback back in Jacksonville, Texas. And a couple of weeks ago, they hit all three players. They got to see all three of the kids play.
It's called dedication by good old mom and dad.
And a great van that'll carry you 500 miles on one Saturday.
And a lot of coffee to stay awake while you're driving.
You got that right. 3rd down and 10 after the penalty. Just over 3 minutes to go here in the opening quarter. You're enjoying our Halloween telecast of Big 12 football. Fobbs wide to the left. Aikens the only one in the backfield. Lindsay pressure on again. He can scramble and look out. Trying to get to the outside. A great tackle as he crosses the 50, maybe getting back to the line of scrimmage. Michael Jamison coming up from that strong safety spot.
Number 1, Michael Jamison.
Jamison, a true sophomore, started out as a quarterback, then he was moved to strong safety.
And he can run like this whole Texas A&M defense. And that was an example of them rallying to the football, swarming the football, because Lindsay's very dangerous, as we know, on the corner. But when you have safeties and corners and linebackers that can run like Michael Jamison, you're not going to get on the corner too fast.
A&M having problems getting people on the field. The kick, a high one. Fair catch is being called for. Another one inside the 20. Down to the 1-yard line. What a kick by Scott Elder. 47 yards, 0 on the return. Bob Simmons has to like what he sees there.
And Bob Simmons is an old special teams coach. He was a special teams coach way back when at the University of West Virginia and Colorado, along with his defensive duties. He knows the importance of field position, especially in weather like this. It's a good heads-up play that time by Ethan Howell, number 19. You want to get your back to the goal line and make sure it doesn't roll through your legs.
I think part of it, A&M didn't have enough players on the field, and as the punt was taking place, they were still running white jerseys on.
And part of that is because Oklahoma State ran out there really fast and had a quick punt.
Well, their average field position start this year was the 35. Now they're on the 1. Jamar Toombs, no place to go. Inside of 2.5 to play in the opening quarter.
The offensive coordinator from Texas A&M said they had to throw the football early in this game to loosen up and make Oklahoma State get out of these 9-man fronts that they're in. 9 people are around the line of scrimmage. It's very hard for an offensive football team to run the football up inside.
And they get such great penetration. You can see what Oklahoma State has done to A&M so far. A&M trying to get out of the hole. Up to the 5, maybe the 6-yard line, and it's Dante Hall. Ricky Thompson holding on for dear life by the ankles.
Ricky Thompson, gain of 4.
Good job by Thompson coming up. Now watch the tight end over here and the left tackle block. These guys are just doing a great job. Spiller's number 87 and Carmen Spikes is number 53. Doing a good job of caving things down inside, which enables Hall to get outside. The freshman number 28, Toombs, also throws a key block. But that was a wonderful open field tackle by Ricky Thompson.
Skies have opened up again. 3rd down and 5 as the rain falls in Stillwater. McCowan lofts it up. Pass is complete. 1st down, Texas A&M. Leroy Hodge, the junior out of Rosenberg, Texas, with his 12th reception of the year. Well, last year we saw Hodge learn how to run a pattern. This time he ran it well, but McCown paid the price.
Hodge is a big guy. He's 6'3", 204 pounds. He's got a big target. He's a guy they like to throw to down on the goal line. But as you see, sometimes a quarterback's job is not all that glorious. As McCown gets knocked down, he gets rid of the ball, puts the ball right on the money, and that was good concentration that time by Hodge. Perfect throw under duress.
Well, Zach Aiken already lowered the boom on Randy McCowan, but not before they got the first down up to the 28-yard line. 1:11 to play in the first quarter. Oklahoma State with 7 in the box. Ball is loose. Did Oklahoma State get possession? No, he was out of bounds. A&M will retain it. Dante Hall fumbled. Zach Aiken made the hit that caused it, but the Cowboys just couldn't pick up that bug that was loose on the rug.
Coaching and playing and fumble recovering 101, Ron. You got to jump on the ball, especially when it's wet out. Watch what happens here. The ball is bouncing. The ball is bouncing. You got to get on it. Dwayne Levels, number 47. He's only a young player. He's a redshirt freshman. But you got to go down and protect and cover the football.
Well, the Cowboy defense wants more turnovers.
And you know what? They're doing a good job of causing some tonight because that ball has been on the ground.
Second down and 14. McCowan play action. Out into the flat, back to the original line of scrimmage. Campbell stays on his feet. What a great job by the senior out of Glen Rose, Texas. Bill Johnson, the defensive line coach, says when you define the pride of the Aggies and an Aggie player, that's the picture you will see. Daniel Campbell.
Well, he's strong, he's athletic, and he's a vocal leader that loves to play football. And he looked like Mike Ditka that time, running down the field with defenders bouncing off of him. Big old guy from Glen Rose, Texas. And as we've talked about before, he's a young man that's going to play in the National Football League because he brings so many different tight end qualities to the table.
Pickup of 21, another first down for Texas A&M. Sir Parker in the backfield. And he is in motion. The fullback straight ahead. Toombs! Into Oklahoma State territory. He had the 71-yarder versus Nebraska a couple of weeks ago. That was a big one, and it took Howell and Thompson to bring him down, and Toombs stays down. That's a big guy. When he gets running downhill, Artie, he got some speed.
He rambles and he picks up speed as he gets going. What A&M is doing is trying to spread out the Oklahoma State defense. And what you're going to see right here, the left guard in the center, they're going to do a great job of blocking, but there's one back in the backfield. McKinney, number 77, gets on his man and just creates a big seam. That's good strategy because when you're playing so much man-to-man, there's no free safety back in here somewhere to come up and make the tackle. If you spread them out and there's no safety at that second level, you pop the line of scrimmage, you got a chance, as we saw there, to make a big play.
Now we saw Toombs almost fumble the ball on the play. He stays down. We'll check on his condition. Well, tonight after the game, the F1 season wraps up on Fox Sports Net, and it all comes down to this. One last head-to-head battle between Hakkinen and Schumacher as this amazing season comes to a thrilling end live from Japan. Join Mike Joy, Derek Bell, and Peter Windsor as they bring you the Grand Prix of Japan on Fox Sports Net right after the game. Check your local listings. Schumacher, he's trying to get over the disappointment of last year, says he's relaxed in Suzuki, Japan this year. That man is not relaxed right now.
No, R.C. Slocum was concerned about Oklahoma State when he got here last night. He was concerned this morning when we talked to him. He knows that this football team plays a little different at home. Oklahoma State is a better home team, at least they have been this year, than they have been a road team. This environment, and as you talked about in the open, Ron, it went down to the wire last year. And Oklahoma State had more yards.
Seventh play of the drive, and a timeout is going to be called. Texas A&M wants to talk about it. 29 seconds left. They are going with the wind. You think that has something to do with calling the timeout just in case they have to get the field goal? Or
yeah, I think that's a good point. The problem is it's first down, and you know you're going to use up 29 seconds in the next two downs here. But yes, I think that is a consideration, and especially in these conditions because field goals are hard to kick because of the snap and the hold in the wet climate.
And it's also raining buckets again. Fox Sports News Primetime, your source for college football news. Who's making a run for the Heisman? What teams are moving up in the rankings? Which teams remain undefeated? We've got college football covered like no one else. Fox Sports News Primetime tonight after the Japanese Grand Prix. Check your local listings. They are donned with the orange slickers, fitting to have Halloween game in Stillwater, where the predominant color is orange. Nobody's makeup is running. You notice that?
And you know what? If it was, I'm not sure anybody would care.
I agree.
Because everybody here is having a great time tonight watching this wonderful football game.
Almost 50,000 on hand, not a whole lot of empty seats. First down and 10, ball on the 31, Simpson and Parker in the backfield. McCowan, three-step drop, looks inside, pass is complete. Down to the 25-yard line. Taylor on the catch. Eric Clemens, you have an update on Bernard Toombs.
Yes, Jamar Toombs left the field under his own power, and there's good news. He simply had the wind knocked out of him. He's expected to return later on in the game, maybe in the series. In fact, he's back out on the field right now, guys.
When you have a guy that big get the wind knocked out, I think the flag's unfurled on that one.
And, you know, he's done a wonderful job of being able to deal with the pressure of a true freshman coming into a program like Texas A&M, having some success. He's playing great and dealing with it all.
And that is the end of the first quarter. We have played 15 in Stillwater, and the Cowboys have the lead.
Thanks for coming, boys. First, I want you to move the hay over there. Then split and stack that firewood. And paint that barn. And when you're done, I'll give you this 6-pack of Coors beer.
Let me get this straight. The hay, the wood, and the barn for that?
Yep.
So what's the catch?
There's only one Mile High taste. Coors, the original.
Orale, it's me, Señor Bueno. And I just had a big taco with jalapenos and lots of hot sauce. Ooh, que caliente. Hot sauce. Good thing there's free refills at Taco Bueno. This stuff, it goes right through me. Excuse me.
Taco Bueno. We make lots of stuff fresh.
No, by hand.
Texas law officers, the men and women who lay it on the line, support Jim Maddox for Attorney General. Maddox's opponent has never prosecuted a criminal case, has no law enforcement experience, and says he won't even emphasize law enforcement. Law officers trust Jim Maddox, a proven prosecutor for Chief Law Enforcement Officer of Texas.
As Attorney General, I have one standard. No matter who you are, that you play by the rules. They call it tough. I call it equal justice under the law.
College football on Fox Sports Net is brought to you locally by McCoy's, by GMC, and by Taco Bueno.
Happy Halloween to each and every one of you. Hope you have had more treats than tricks this evening. We are in Stillwater, along with Artie Gigantino and Eric Clemens. We bring you Big 12 football, a battle in the South. We're Texas A&M, number 8 in the country, trying to make it 8 in a row. Trail Oklahoma State by 3 at the end of 1 quarter of play. Second down and 3 for the Aggies. Ball on the Oklahoma State 24-yard line. Sir Parker, left side, not much running room. You know, we've talked about Jamar Toombs a lot already this evening, but what does he bring to this offense, considering that Texas A&M lost a lot of fullbacks?
Well, they lost a lot of fullbacks and tailbacks. What he brings is another threat in the backfield to take the pressure off of guys like Sir Parker. Now you not only can throw the football to your 2 good tight ends, hand the ball off to this tailback emphasized offense, but now you also have a fullback offense. He reminds a lot of people of the old fullback from here by the name of George Woodard.
Third down and 2. Parker in motion. They try the right side with Toombs. Penalty flags are thrown, and I think A&M may have jumped a little too soon.
Give the crowd some credit on that one. I think that they made so much noise that not everybody heard the signals, and not everybody was on the same page when they broke the huddle.
And instead of 3rd and 2, it's going to be 3rd and 7.
You know, Ray Dorr, who coaches the quarterbacks at A&M and does just a marvelous job, told us they're really allowing Cowan
I'll start. I'll finish.
to do a lot more audibling at the line of scrimmage as you look at Ray Dorr, and he's looking at a play chart on his wrist. You're going to see Baumgartner out here, number 1 and number 81, and he clearly was offside because he did not hear the signal. When you're lined up that wide, you got to watch the ball. There's Ray Dorr looking at his pupil.
With Brandon Stewart by his side on 3rd down and 7. McCowan pumps once, goes down the middle, wide open, pass is incomplete, intended for Sir Parker. You talked about it early. If you get by that first wave, you have a shot of being wide open, and Parker was just that.
And they're playing a lot of man-to-man, and you can see McCowan deliver the ball, but he's just got to get a little bit more air up underneath it, because there was some confusion that time between the 2 safeties of Oklahoma State. Just a little less heavy on the throw by Randy McCowan.
That'll bring up a 4th down and 7, and Texas A&M is going to be forced to kick it away. Leckler standing on his own 43-yard line. Pooch kicks it. May have got a little too much. And he did.
You know, it's the killer there for Texas A&M. The ball was on the 29-yard line, so you only end up getting 9 more yards on field position.
Save a lot of bucks on a lot of trucks. The GMC Truck Blowout. They gotta go. That's why we're keeping the price so low. The great 98 GMC Truck Blowout's going on now. Save up to $3,000 with 0.9% APR GMAC financing on a great selection of GMC trucks, Sonomas, Safaras, Jimmys, and even the hot new Envoy. Save a lot of bucks on a lot of trucks at GMC Truck Blowout. For a limited time only at your Texas GMC dealers. Save a lot of bucks on a lot of trucks at GMC Truck Blowout.
You don't get in this kind of shape running on a treadmill. You do it with strength exercise, and I do it with the Bowflex. You know, if you're not working out with strength training right now, you need to. Because if you want to lose weight, you got to add the muscle, and that's why you need a Bowflex machine. It's like nothing else you've ever tried before. We've got over 60 exercises you can do on a Bowflex. You're never going to get bored. You can do a full workout in 20 minutes on a Bowflex machine. You're not going to believe how effective Bowflex is the first time you get on it. Bowflex may look a little different, but that's because we designed it to function correctly. Bowflex uses power rod resistance. Bowflex power rods are so effective that Bowflex guarantees results in 6 weeks or your money back. Try going to the gym and getting a guarantee on results. You won't find it. If you call and get our free videotape, you're going to see an effective workout and see how easy and quick and fun working out with Bowflex is.
This is Fox Sports Southwest.
When you're the head coach, you get everybody involved. How about R.C. Slocum's son doing a little ball boy duty today?
John Harvey Slocum, and he was an excellent golfer for Texas A&M and travels with his dad all the time and keeps him company and has to do some work, though, when he's at the game.
That's right. Of course, his other son, Sean Slocum, left A&M this year to join Paul Hackett's squad. USC. Cowboys take over 1st and 10 from their own 20, leading by a field goal. They keep it on the ground, try on the right side. Nathan Simmons can't find a whole lot of running room. Now, they alternate Simmons and Fobbs, usually a tailback, but last week versus the Oklahoma Sooners, and we saw on the tape party, they didn't get a whole lot of carries, the tailback spot.
Well, no, and I think that Bob Simmons wasn't very happy about it because this team functions around the tailback. And Simmons had a good night, but Fobbs had no carries. And again, it's just something that happened. It was not done intentionally. Fobbs had a great night catching the ball, though.
The running game continues for Oklahoma State. Well, our GTE Academic Player of the Game is one of the tailbacks we have just been mentioning. Number 1, the junior out of Boulder, Colorado. His father is the head coach, Nathan Simmons. Already graduated with a degree in psychology, major family relations and child development, 3.37 GPA. Nathan Simmons, our academic player of the week. He would like to be a minister or a youth counselor later on in life.
And he's what a student athlete should be.
Exactly.
This guy is a, quote, role model.
On 3rd down and 4, the Wrecking Crew defense stands up to the challenge. The big Oklahoma State offensive line could not hold the A&M defensive line. Warwick Coleman came up with the first hit.
One of the things you want to do if you're A&M tonight is get into the backfield and penetrate. It's exactly what happens. It's a little counter play that time with Simmons carrying the ball, but you cannot run a counter if the defensive linemen are 2 or 3 yards into the backfield.
Scott Elder will stand on his own 10-yard line. Will be kicking what was the wind. Now the flags are just slowing limp down the other end. Chris Taylor chases it down, backpedals to the 21. Scoots out of bounds up to the 30-yard line. 54-yard kick, 9 yards on the return. A crowd of well over 47,000 on hand for homecoming here in Stillwater, Oklahoma. We are in Lewis Field, where the Oklahoma State Cowboys tacked on a field goal in the opening quarter, and that has been all the scoring. Along with Artie and Eric, I'm Ron. Glad you're with us this evening.
Well, you can see some of the water on the field still, Ron, as we look at this thing, and because it has rained very hard here for the last 2 or 3 days.
Well, we're going to nickname Eric Noah, I think, by the end of the evening.
He's bundled up, though.
He is, isn't he? 1st and 10 for Texas A&M. Toombs and Parker in the backfield, and it is Sir Parker. Try on the right side, crosses the 30, may have gotten to the 29-yard line. Just a couple of years ago, Sir Parker actually contemplated leaving Texas A&M, was a little bit homesick. Did not feel too good back in the '96 season. All turned around, though, and he is glad he stayed at Texas A&M.
Well, he's from Los Angeles. College Station's a little bit different than downtown Los Angeles, where he's from. He went to Locke High School. He was a highly recruited player out of L.A., but now loves Texas A&M. And as you can see, 30 yards only tonight by A&M, 36 by Oklahoma State. Neither team is running the ball very well.
McCowan play action, buys some time, pressure's on. Lets it fly. The pass is incomplete. Nobody is around the football. The Oklahoma State coaches want intentional grounding. I think I heard a whistle prior to when he even released the ball. Terrell Knowles is the one who put the pressure on. That's why it probably isn't intentional grounding.
You know, and I think the official called him out of bounds before he threw the football.
Let's listen in. Well, he threw it before the whistle blew.
Yeah, he threw it before that, and he was clearly in bounds. So it should be intentional grounding, because I think the Oklahoma State coaches have got a complaint to make, and I think they're justified in their complaint.
Now, we saw Michael Bishop, Kansas State today, do the same thing. He was going down and let it fly.
Hey, and as you can see, he's throwing it down the field, but there is no one there.
And I think that Oklahoma State defense, with their defensive coordinator, Rob Ryan, in his 2nd year, didn't like it. Brother Rex, of course, the defensive coordinator.
When the ball was in the air, we're going to repeat 2nd down.
Oh, no, that's even worse. That is even worse. Inadvertent whistle, they said, so they're going to replay 2nd down, and Bob Simmons, I think, has a beef here. The pass was incomplete. Not only should it have been intentional grounding, it should have been a play.
And Bob can't believe it, and neither can I. And you know, Rob Ryan doesn't like it. But you know, in a game like this, every play counts because of the weather and field position.
Well, we saw in the replay, and obviously we have the luxury of the replay, that the pass was thrown prior to the whistle blowing.
And the crowd does not like it.
2nd and 8 for the Aggies. Ball on the 31. They keep it on the ground. Sir Parker is stacked up right at the line of scrimmage. Kenyatta Wright, the junior out of Vian, Oklahoma. He said he likes to spy. When he knows there's a great running back, he likes to sort of keep that eye out for him.
Well, he's the coach on the field. He makes the checks at the line of scrimmage. He makes the adjustments. He told us 2 weeks ago when we had him in Kansas City that he wants to coach someday. He's a good-looking linebacker that's extremely active.
Of course, this Oklahoma State team playing without Raymond Cato. He is injured. Cato said he'll be back next week. Kenyatta Wright picking up the slack. 3rd down and 9 inside of 11 minutes. here in the second quarter from the shotgun. McCowan looking for something. Intercepted. Trent Alexander, the senior out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, finally came up with the ball. Kenyatta Wright tipped it. Alexander was Johnny on the spot. 8th interception this year for the Cowboys of Oklahoma State.
Now, McCowan looks a little bit confused, but watch when he scrambles out here, the wonderful coverage downfield by the secondary of Oklahoma State. They change it up. They're playing a 3-deep zone. These guys are in a zone. He was expecting man-to-man coverage. There's nowhere to throw. He throws the ball right into Wright's hands, and the ball bounces. He does not have an idea of what the coverage was on that particular play because he was confused by the changeup.
And a penalty flag is thrown, and it'll be a procedure penalty against the Cowboys. Trent Alexander, the senior, they call him Cowboy.
False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty.
But what is big, I think, is the fact that Oklahoma State forced the turnover. Rob Ryan telling us we need to force turnovers. Forced 4 versus the Sooners last week. Put them +4 on the year.
The turnover battle is obviously a huge battle in all of football. It's what you do with the turnover. If they can convert this into points, then obviously it's bigger.
On 1st and 15, one man in the backfield. It is Simmons. Straight up, look out! Inside the 10, down to the 7-yard line. Rich Cody corralled him. It is not a fumble. It is Oklahoma State's football. Nathan Simmons. 39 yards on the carry.
One of the simplest plays in football. It's called the zone play. Now watch these guys up front. They're going to take a step coming off the line of scrimmage and get into the man. Look at those angles right there going after the defenders. Simmons is going to get the ball and literally pick his hole. It's a zone play. The offensive linemen go to an area and block the defender who's in the area. That was a great example of a zone play.
Whistle before the snap. Well, Simmons was the first back in 2 years to gain over 100 yards rushing against Nebraska. He had 114 versus the Huskers.
And you know, I'll bet you had 100 on zone plays.
I think he did.
False start. Offense.
Penalties have been a problem for the Cowboys.
Repeat first down.
Well, you know, coming into the game, they had 73 penalties for 591 yards, which is almost 85 yards a game in penalties. And, you know, Bob Simmons wanted to control it because when it takes away big plays, especially down by the goal line, it's a killer in terms of getting points. So he's trying to do something about it, and he just can't. It's when the penalties occur is the tough part.
That is only the 3rd rush for over 20 yards versus the A&M defense this year. Lindsey sees a crease inside the 10. Down to about the 7-yard line. Pickup of 4. Datwin, the first time we've called his name this evening.
Well, he's kind of gotten neutralized a little bit because he's got a blocker on him each and every play. Now, A&M plays the 52 or 34 defense. There's 3 down linemen and 4 linebackers. And Datwin, who's a small guy, I mean, he is only 5'11", 221. He's got to line up on a guard who's much bigger than him. And at times, he can't see very well because of his size. He's a very productive linebacker, a guy who's had a great career, averages over 10 tackles a game in his career.
As you saw, he led the team in tackles the last 3 years. Nobody in A&M history has led it 4. Datwin is on the verge of doing that. He was only 7 tackles away from becoming the all-time tackler in A&M history. This time, Simmons is going to be stacked up at the 10-yard line, a loss of about 2.5. Bradley on the stop. You mentioned a great point, though, about Datwin. You know, getting back to him, here is a guy that is not a big physical specimen per se, but he's just a great player that gets after it every play.
Yeah, he's an excellent college football player. And I think he's got a chance to play in the National Football League. He reminds me of Zach Thomas, who played at Tech, who is now playing for the Miami Dolphins. A guy that you look at and say he might be a little undersized, but you put next to his name productivity.
3rd down and 10. Oklahoma State with a strange formations again. Sean Love to the right along with Terrence Richardson. Into the flat. Pass is complete and then dropped. Jamal Fobbs had the boom lowered on him. Cedric Curry, the junior out of Houston, Texas, gave Mr. Fobbs a denture check.
That's called reacting to the pass perfectly. Coming up and knocking the ball loose. You know, Curry's a guy that's played a lot, and you can see his timing is perfect here. Even if Fobbs would have caught the ball, it would have been for a minimal gain, and the field goal still would have been attempted.
Well, R.C. Slocum forces him into a field goal attempt. Sidness, ball is placed on the 17. Halupka, the holder. The little pooch splits the uprights, just sneaks inside the right upright. And Sidness has tacked on 2 field goals this evening. That's 6 straight for that young man, and Oklahoma State leads by 6, 8:21 left in the first half.
At FINA, we make a performance gasoline that can help your car ride for a long time. But for those of you who'd rather ride for just 8 seconds, all we can say is, good luck at the rodeo. FINA, performance for a lifetime. Since FINA gasolines can help your car live longer, you might want to plan accordingly. With a FINA credit card, it's helpful, convenient, and made of durable plastic. So like your car, it'll last a long time. FINA, performance for a lifetime.
What's hot? Fiesta 44 combo. What's up with that? Go to Taco Mayo. Get 44 icy cold ounces of Coke plus any 3 of these. Crispy tacos or beef burritos or beef soft tacos. A humongous treat, 3 fab foods and all for an easy $2.95. Fiesta 44 combo. Awesome! It's right now at Taco Mayo. Taco Mayo! Oh yeah! You'll be surprised.
Barbara and I have known him for a long, long time, and everyone in our family strongly supports him. You have a good man. He's demonstrated his integrity and honor in office.
Rick, I look forward to having you by my side. It's important that Texans elect Rick Perry. He's a man of honor, he's a man of integrity, and he's trustworthy.
My heart is where Barbara's is, where George's is, in the Perry corner.
College Football Saturday on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper, this is the taste. And by GTE, the official telecommunications consultant to the NCAA. And that is the Edmund Lowe Library on the OSU campus. A rainy Saturday evening where the Oklahoma State Cowboys lead the 8th-ranked Texas A&M Aggies 6-0. 8:21 left to play in the first half. Schwetman ready to kick it away. It's going to be Chris Taylor from the 3. Straight up the middle. One man to beat. To the 30, 20, 12-yard line for Chris Taylor. Evan Howe finally tracks him down from behind. That is the longest kickoff return this year for Texas A&M.
And that's the special teams area that A&M felt that they could exploit on Oklahoma State. Now watch the blocks here. Look how many guys in orange shirts get knocked down as Taylor comes up the field. What you got to do now is not clip anybody, just like number 88, Leroy Hodge is going to do there. Hey, let the defense guy go past you, but do not clip anybody and hope that Taylor can outrun him.
84 yards on the kick return for Taylor. His longest was 25 coming into tonight. And A&M knocking on the door. 1st and 10. Ball is on the 13-yard line. From the I formation, they go with a fullback. Toombs banging his way inside the 10 down to about the 9.
Now, as you look at this game, Texas A&M wants to obviously get a touchdown here, but they got to come out with points and get this game back to 6-3 or 7-6, whatever it ends up being. But in this area, when you get that's almost like a turnover down here. When you get the ball down here, you want to come out with points. A&M has not been great this year in terms of touchdowns in the red zone.
Pickup of 3. A&M can get a first down without scoring. Toombs this time from a tailback spot. Banging down to the 7. Levels on the stop. Interesting seeing Toombs at the tailback spot.
You know, he was a tailback, he was telling us last night, in high school. So he enjoys that tailback spot because, like he said, he doesn't want to spend the rest of his life blocking. He likes to carry the football.
3rd down and 5. McCowan looks for the 6, and he's got it. Matt Bumgarner's first touchdown reception of the year. And Randy McCowan's 4th touchdown pass of the season.
That was an audible at the line of scrimmage. He was given the freedom to come up and check off to a pass if he felt it was man-to-man. And you see he gives his coach, Ray Dorr, a big hug because preparation by Coach Dorr that time made that touchdown possible. Boy, those two like each other. That's good. I love to see a player do that. I think that's great because he knows the effort that the coaches put into preparing him.
Bynum with the extra point, splits the uprights, and Texas A&M has their first lead of the game with 6:44 left to play in the first half. But it was all set up by the kickoff return by Chris Taylor. It put him in position, and the Aggies took advantage of it.
No woman had ever been elected to the Texas Supreme Court. Then along came Rose Spector.
I'm Judge Rose Spector, and I think it's time to open the court to all the people of Texas.
Justice Rose Spector was the first woman ever elected to the Texas Supreme Court in its 150-year history. Now she's a leader on the court, even-handed, has served with distinction. As the only Democrat with 7 Republicans, Justice Spector will keep the court balanced.
I work for you, not the lawyers, not the politicians.
Re-elect Judge Rose Spector.
Have you ever bought a new computer, then had a question about it, and then you asked your spouse and your kid, and it was 7 o'clock, and the computer store was closed, and the guy next door who knows everything about computers was on vacation? Why not get help 24 hours a day? Go to Dell. We've won PC Magazine's award for desktop reliability and service 3 years in a row. Right now, you can get a Dell Dimension computer powered by an Intel Pentium 2 processor at 350 megahertz. You'll get a 13.6 gig hard drive with enough storage to use neat stuff like digital cameras. Plus, you'll get a 17-inch monitor, a 40x variable CD-ROM for fast access. Altec Lansing speakers with subwoofer, and it comes preloaded with Microsoft Windows 98 with Home Essentials and Money 98 to do, oh boy, money stuff. It's a good thing it only costs $17.99. Dell Dimension with an Intel Pentium 2 processor at 350 megahertz. Just $17.99. To order, go directly to the source. Dell, be direct.
Hey, I'm Tiger Woods, and I got Fox Sports News in my bag.
A&M on the touchdown confuses Oklahoma State a little bit. You're going to see him motion out to a one-back set. Now watch the confusion up here by the Oklahoma State defense. McCowan sees it. He calls an audible. It's a 3-step drop, the slant to Bumgarner, touchdown. There was no free safety to help the corner on that.
Grissom, Fobbs, and White set to receive the kick. And it is the up man. It is Reggie White. Oh, look out. Up to the 30. Check that. It was Willie Grissom finally coming up with it. But good field position again for Oklahoma State. Jamison knocking him out of bounds. And now let's check in with Eric Clemens for our Burger King game summary. Eric?
All right, guys, you know, Texas A&M knew that Oklahoma State was going to try to run the ball. So far, pretty successful. Nate Simmons with 10 carries for 63 yards. But the big play setting up the McCown touchdown pass, the big kickoff return by Taylor of 84 yards. And so far, a one-point ball game right now. Guys?
First and 10 from their own 32-yard line for Oklahoma State. Simmons banging his way in. Dat Win comes up with the stop. And this Oklahoma State offense has had to go against some pretty good defenses the last 7 games already.
They've gone against some great defenses this year. They've played against Kansas State. They played against Nebraska. But as this offense has been successful, it's been because of these guys up front. And tonight, they averaged 291 pounds per man. A&M's defensive front only averages 261. So they have a size advantage.
Dat Win only 2 tackles away from becoming A&M all-time leading tackler. Now it's time for a Dr. Pepper game break, and we take you to the game between Ohio State and Indiana in Indiana. 2:40 left to play in the second with a score 14-0 Ohio State. Joe Germain connects with tight end John Lumpkin for a 6-yard touchdown. Ohio State goes on to win the final in that game 38-7.
Chris Cameron's doing a great job of rebuilding that Indiana football program. And they played against one of the best 2 teams in the country today in Ohio State.
3rd down and 4, and 0 for tonight for Oklahoma State on 3rd down. 0 for 5. Lindsey, pressure, buried at the 32-yard line by Warwick Holman. His 6th sack of the year. He leads the team in that category. That was a runaway freight train.
And Eric Clemens talked about him in the open, about he's a guy that's underrated and unknown. But you're going to see him come off the corner here from the right of your screen. Lindsey holds the ball a little bit because nobody's open. Good coverage that time, but nobody blocks Holman coming off the corner. It was the backside of a trips formation, and there's no one there to block him.
Scott Elder will stand on his own 18-yard line, set to kick it away. Chris Taylor on his 25 to receive it. No pressure, left-footed kick, end over end. Taylor's going to let it bounce. And another great roll for the kicker, Scott Elder. Finally knocked out of bounds at the 22-yard line, and that is where Texas will take over. A 47-yard kick. Of the number 8 ranked Texas A&M Aggies host Oklahoma in a Big 12 Conference rivalry that spans generations. Oklahoma, Texas A&M next Saturday at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific, only on FX. Artie, you, Eric, and I are going to be down there.
Yeah, we'll be there. And congratulations to John Blake and his staff on their win today over Iowa State. A lot of pressure on Coach Blake in this area. For some people that, quite frankly, don't want him to be the coach. But he's the coach, and people should just let him coach.
I agree 100%. He's a good man.
He's a good man.
Ball's on the 22. A&M leads 7-6. Just under 4.5 to play here in the second. Toombs barrels his way close to the 30-yard line. Boy, you just can't say enough about this big fella. And when we talked to him last night, I don't know, Artie, I think we both got the impression he's got his head on right.
Yes, he's mature beyond his years, and he's got the good look about him in terms of, as you said, his head is screwed on right. He's mature. He is not allowing all of the things that have come to him in terms of glory, in terms of him being a high-profile guy, to affect his personality. And you got to love that in a guy.
Pickup of 7. Taylor in motion. McCowan changing the play again. Play clock at 2. Buried. Penalty flag was thrown on the far end of the field. And it may be offsides against Oklahoma State. Kenyatta Wright was dancing around. Eric Stevenson with the sack.
And partner, you were exactly right, because that was an audible at the line of scrimmage. Now watch Kenyatta Wright here, number 7. He walks up from his linebacker position, and he's going to fake a blitz. So you see McCowan saying, oh my gosh, here they come, here they come. And it looks like he steps offside. He gets back, but obviously not in enough time. Good call that time by McCowan, but that's part of the chess game that's going on at the line of scrimmage tonight.
Bob Simmons hurt by penalties. I think the officials marked it off the wrong way.
I think you're right, but penalties have been a problem here tonight, again, for Oklahoma State, because you can't allow penalties to beat you.
Now they're going to get this right. Let's listen in for a little public embarrassment.
Offside on a defense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Now the Aggies get the first down with 3:31 left to play in the first half. Rain still coming down, not quite as hard. Bob Simmons says, what's going on out here? But I tell you, good job by Seth McKinney again, the center. That's the second time he snapped the ball, catching somebody from Oklahoma State offside.
And that's something you have to practice, and not enough people do it because it's an easy 5 yards.
1st and 10, ball on the 34 for A&M. Toombs and Parker in the I formation. McCowan directing traffic. A quick look-in pattern complete. Brinkley with a reception. Not a name we've called at all so far this year.
No, he's a guy that hasn't played very much because, you know, the Chris Coles and Aaron Oliver and Leroy Hodge have been the big receivers for this A&M team. But it's obvious that A&M has decided to go to the quick slant play against man-to-man. Look for them, though, to change it up in the second half and maybe go downtown a little bit more.
Brinkley, a senior out of McKinney, Texas. Pick up a 4. Short, safe pass by McCowan. Toombs again. Just think a year ago he was playing for a 3A school, Kilgore, Texas, and they were taking on Gilmer in a big game.
A little different than tonight.
And you know, Toombs had all the stats of that game, didn't he, when he told us last night?
He could remember every time he carried the ball last year. R.C. Slocum was kidding him in front of us, saying, hey, I might move you to linebacker in the spring. Because, you know, R.C. loves defense, but he also loves an offense that can churn out the yardage and also keep the ball, because that really helps his defense, too. And that's what Toombs gives him.
3rd and 2. Oklahoma State showing blitz. McCowan keeps it. 1st down, close to the 50, run out of bounds at the 49-yard line by Trent Alexander. Boy, we talk about what Randy McCowan brings to this team. We saw it right there.
He's a mobile guy that likes to do it. Now watch Toombs here. He's coming up. It's a fake. It's a bootleg keep. He fakes the Toombs to the left. But watch Kenyatta Wright, number 7. He comes up the field, and big old Haimuli, number 62, just knocks him down, which allows Randy McCowan to get outside. That was a good play call that time by Steve Craythorpe, the offensive coordinator from Texas A&M.
Interesting. A&M going from the shotgun on 1st down, ball on the 49. McCowan, straight drop, scrambles, picks up some positive yardage, still on his feet, close to the 40. We saw him with a big 33-yard scramble versus Nebraska. Comes up with a scramble of about 9 on that play. Troy West on the stop. Fox Sports Net is going deep, taking you past the headlines and inside the biggest stories for an insight you just can't get anywhere else. Join host Joe Buck for Going Deep Sundays at 9 p.m. on Fox Sports Net. Check your local listings. McCowan, 14 yards rushing, 4 carries. He's going upstairs. The pass is complete. Great catch by Chris Taylor, who's having a whale of a ball game. Came into tonight with only 3 receptions. The former high school quarterback out of Madisonville, Texas.
You're going to see the shotgun here, and he looks for Taylor down at the bottom of the screen. Oklahoma State is playing man-to-man, and Taylor gets inside, so he's got a chance to catch the pass.
Another 1st down for the Aggies, who are driving. Pressure. McCowan throws it into the cheap seats. Ricky Thompson is the one who came from the free safety spot on the blitz.
You know, I'm surprised that Oklahoma State hasn't blitzed more tonight, especially in past situations, because Coach Ryan does a wonderful job. Rob Ryan does a great job of scheming offenses, especially when he knows it's going to be a pass. And a couple of times tonight, I thought he would come after him a little bit more. Now, look for him to probably do that a little bit more in the second half. I think this guy is one of the really talented young defensive coordinators in the country that gets the most out of his players.
Just over a minute left in the half. 2nd down and 10. Parker in motion. McCowan keeps it. Picks up a couple close to the 20-yard line. Courtney Mallory, the junior out of Detroit, Michigan, on the stop.
Well, it looks like Oklahoma State's defense has now figured out the 3-step audible that Texas A&M is employing, because they took it away that time.
Texas A&M burns their 2nd time out of the half, and with 57 seconds left, they'll talk about it. Leading 7-6.
It's Thrifty Car Rental's 40th birthday, so let's get the show on the road. Call 1-800-4CARS. There's something special going on at Thrifty Car Rental and Blockbuster Video. You rent a car from Thrifty, you get a free movie rental from Blockbuster Video. Just ask. When you rent a car at Thrifty, you'll drive home with a free movie rental from Blockbuster Video. Get the show on the road with Thrifty Car Rental and Blockbuster Video. Call 1-800-4CARS.
They say for every boy and girl there's just one love in this whole world, and I know I found mine.
Oh. Here's an idea. With GTE Caller ID, you'll know exactly who's on the line.
Nope, not the kids.
So you can decide whether to pick up or not.
Mom? Dad? Home early. Hello? Is anybody here? Hello?
Oklahoma State has not beaten the top 10 team since 1994. Bob Simmons is 0-5 versus top 10. Trying to change all that tonight, taking on number 8 Texas A&M. 57 seconds left in the half, and his troops trail by 1.
But he's 2-0 on Halloween. He's 2-0 on Halloween.
Where did you get that?
It was on the scoreboard at the beginning of the game.
You looked?
Yes.
I'm impressed.
Yes.
And you can see 22 straight losses overall for the Cowboys. Bob Simmons gets a little irate over that. He said, hey, that's history. That has nothing to do with us.
And I totally agree with him. You can't look back on things like that.
Reverse. A pass. Back. It looks like an interception. Incomplete. Looking, J.B. Flowers is the one who came up with it. It was intended for Derek Spiller, a little trickery. So much for conservative R.C. Slocum.
Well, R.C. Slocum has gone to a much less conservative style of play these last couple of weeks. Now watch Taylor right here. He's going to come back. He's going to get the ball. It looks like a reverse. Parker hands the ball off to him. Now watch what happens up here. He's going to go and he's going to see it. He's going to read the thing absolutely perfectly. Obviously, J.B. Flowers, number 25, was prepared for that play.
37-yard field goal attempt is good. Russell Bynum with the field goal, 8 of 12 on the year, and the Oklahoma State Cowboys find themselves down by 4. 10-6 left.
They say for every boy and girl there's just one love in this whole world, and I know I found mine.
Oh. Here's an idea. With GTE Caller ID, you'll know exactly who's on the line.
Nope, not the kids.
So you can decide whether to pick up or not.
Mom? Dad? Home early. Hello? Is anybody here? Hello?
It's Thrifty Car Rental's 40th birthday, so let's get the show on the road. Call 1-800-4CARS. There's something special going on at Thrifty Car Rental and Blockbuster Video. You rent a car from Thrifty, you get a free movie rental from Blockbuster Video. Just ask. When you rent a car at Thrifty, you'll drive home with a free movie rental from Blockbuster Video. Get the show on the road with Thrifty Car Rental and Blockbuster Video. Call 1-800-4CARS.
The homecoming crowd at Oklahoma State, despite the rain, staying right in their seats, and their Cowboys trail by just 4, 10-6. Final 46 seconds of the first half. But if you're Oklahoma State, you're still looking to try to put some type of points on the board, even though there's not a whole lot of time left. The pooch kick. It is going to be Grissom again, trying to get to the outside. Going to be corralled at about the 30-yard line. And that's where Oklahoma State will begin 1st and 10. The Marriott halftime report is straight ahead. College football plays of the year. We'll show you them. A preview of the Japan Grand Prix, plus scores of games from around the country, all coming up on the Marriott halftime report.
One of the reasons Texas A&M put the ball on the ground there on the kickoff is sometimes when it's wet like this, it's just as hard to cover the kick because your footing isn't very good. And it's hard to bring yourself under control. So make Oklahoma State field the ball and maybe get a fumble again out of it. I think that was a smart play that time by R.C. Slocum.
Well, Oklahoma State not going to take chances with this inclement weather, and they're not going to try to get any more points. They took a knee, but there's a penalty flag thrown from the far side.
Well, you know, going into halftime in the Bob Simmons era here at Oklahoma State, if they're trailing at halftime, which it looks like they're going to be here,
Disregard
they're
the flag.
3-16.
There were enough players on the line of scrimmage. Second down.
Okay. They were able to count him up. Bob Simmons likes it. It wasn't on him.
Well, you know what happens, though? You know, you get into a formation like that and you're protecting the quarterback.
Yep.
Everybody gets bunched together, and it looked to the officials like there wasn't enough guys on the line of scrimmage. But you'll see it here. If they take another snap, they're really bunched up.
They're letting the clock just tick away, and the play clock hasn't even been set. So that will be the last play of the first half. Oklahoma State Cowboys took a 6-0 lead field goals. But then A&M got the big kickoff return from Chris Taylor. Got in position to get the touchdown. And here's Eric Clemens on the sideline. Eric?
Well, Coach, in the wet conditions, probably the kind of game you expected. You got a couple big plays when you needed them. Your assessment of the first half?
Well, it was about what we expected. Both teams are playing hard. It's wet out here. The ball's difficult to handle. Both defenses are really playing, and you got to really work for what you get on offense.
I'm imagining that's going to be your message to your guys at halftime as well.
We've got a lot of football left. In a game like this, a lot of strange things can happen, especially on Halloween night.
All right, Coach. Good luck to you in the second half. All right, time now for the Marriott halftime report. We'll send you to a break. A&M Aggies leading Oklahoma State 10-6. Just a moment.
This year, Big 12 athletes are lining up, not only on the field of play, but to support another group of athletes, Special Olympians. Each year, athletes, coaches, and administrators from across the conference participate in a variety of Special Olympic activities, from tennis to swimming to track and field. The Big 12 Conference and Special Olympics have formed a winning partnership.
Some sports are better for the heart.
Special Olympics and the Big 12 Conference, a partnership for life.
Happy birthday.
Oh, good. Another apple. Where's Danny?
Oh, you get down by the way I use my walk. I'm a woman's man. No time to talk. Staying alive. Staying alive. Staying alive.
Thank
you. This is the taste.
Fax?
Room 212 wants the ammunition to deal with her toughest clients.
Nothing? Hi, Davies 212. I called earlier.
Right, fax. That hasn't come yet.
I need it for a meeting.
Excuse me, Miss Davies? Just came in.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone.
Business services by Marriott. When you're comfortable, you could do anything.
For a Pentium 2 processor?
They say for every boy and girl there's just one love in this whole world, and I know I found mine.
Here's an idea. With GTE Caller ID, you'll know exactly who's on the line.
Nope, not the kids.
So you can decide whether to pick up or not.
Mom? Dad? Home early. Hello? Is anybody here? Hello?
Here at VMI, we were asked to try the new Norelco Advantage for 21 days. There was quiet dissension.
I'm not giving up my blade.
And anxious inquiry.
The heck is this? Goo?
But then we started to realize the lotion actually gave us a closer, smoother shave than we expected. Without the nicks and cuts like blades. Our fear diminished. Our hopes arose, and life got a little less hairy.
Come on, babyface, move it!
The new Norelco Advantage. Put it to the test. If you don't like it, they'll give you your money back guaranteed.
Rise and shine.
30 minutes of your morning, a day's worth of sports. Fox Sports News This Morning. Weekdays starting at 6:30 on your Fox Sports Net Regional.
Time now for the Marriott halftime report here to Lewis Field in Stillwater, Oklahoma, where the Texas A&M Aggies lead the Oklahoma State Cowboys 10-6 at intermission. Eric Clemens down here on the field, and this just in, it's pretty wet down here as the rain is still falling. We're about 2/3 of the way through the college football campaign of 1998, and so far we've seen some outstanding plays, but today we took a little time to put together some of the best of the best. Fox Sports Net presents the plays of the year. Well, so far. Starting your year off right with the long bomb, and I do mean long, Louisiana Tech's Tim Rattay, who connects with Troy Edwards for a 95-yard touchdown reception, and guess what? Nobody's going to catch him. And speaking of long, how about number 10, Martin Gramatica? The Kansas State place kicker boots won a record 65 yards, 2 yards farther than the NFL mark. Another outstanding individual performance, Texas running back Ricky Williams, 6-touchdown day against Rice. It was his second 6-TD output of the season. From the pages of Pamplona, the running of the Rams. This Colorado State cheerleader butted heads and lost. On the interception front, Tennessee's Deion Grant makes this spectacular one-handed pick. And not to be outdone, Georgia's Champ Bailey with the grab. He also gets honorable mention for the best name of a cornerback, Champ. Now, how about the going the extra yard category? UCLA's Cade McNown's Olympian goal line high jump. Give him a 9-7. Baylor's Derek Lagway's rumbling, stumbling, breakaway, tearaway jersey, bring them all on touchdown run. And the Stretch Armstrong Award goes to Bruin Brian Poley-Dixon for this touchdown catch against Cal. The Mano Imano goal line stand of the year coming up.
They only have 3 seconds to snap the ball. For the win. No, Nebraska stuffs them.
As for going coast to coast, Texas quarterback Major Applewhite to Wayne McGarity. Major Applewhite also gets the nod for best name of an action hero playing in the Big 12. And from the Houdini Files, the best fake punt award goes to number 16, John Eaton of the University of Akron, who takes the snap, waits, and then runs for pay dirt, faking out the entire Eastern Kentucky front line and backfield. To the Look What I Found award, it goes to number 31, Dustin Curry of Kansas, who benefits from this block punt. And the play, Arizona's Ortiz Jenkins, last second leap into the end zone for the victory. That one's so nice, we better see it twice. Ortiz, give him a perfect 10 on that high jump award. And that, my friends, are some of the best plays of the year so far. And, of course, many of those plays coming from right here in the Big 12 Conference. As close as this game is here today at halftime, we might add to that reel with highlights from A&M and Oklahoma State. Right now, the Marriott halftime report continues with scores from around the nation when we return to Lewis Field in just a moment.
Many people are frustrated with politics, and who can blame them? That's why I've set a positive tone and focused on important issues. I'm working on policies that encourage personal responsibility. I've laid out a specific agenda to teach every child to read, to strengthen the juvenile justice system, to reform welfare, and to help our children make right choices in life. I know where I want to lead our state. I'm an optimist. When Republicans, Democrats, and Independents work together, Texas wins. I'd appreciate your support on Tuesday.
Tarantulas are poisonous. Napoleon was short. You can't get a Mercedes for anywhere near $40,000.
Fact is, tarantulas are harmless to humans. Napoleon was tall for his day, and there are 5 Mercedes between $31,000 and $41,000. Hey, you learn something new every day.
Thing since sliced toast.
Drive in for a change at Sonic. This month, try our new chocolate-covered peanut butter shake made with Peter Pan peanut butter.
Can you throw a birthday party for your dog in 24 hours?
I guess I could. Oh, yeah. Anything with this. Need some invitations for this party.
Oh, is it your birthday?
Yeah. Dog grooming. We need to get him all spiffy. Pet photographer. I found you on the Southwestern Bell Yellow pages.
Balloons and 10 singing telegram.
I'll find a way for your friends to get here. Hey, look. Hi. Oh, look.
Southwestern Bell Yellow pages. If you can't do with this, maybe it can't be done.
Texas law officers, the men and women who lay it on the line, support Jim Maddox for Attorney General. Maddox's opponent has never prosecuted a criminal case, has no law enforcement experience, and says he won't even emphasize law enforcement. Law officers trust Jim Maddox, a proven prosecutor for Chief Law Enforcement Officer of Texas.
As Attorney General, I have one standard. No matter who you are, that you play by the rules. They call it tough. I call it equal justice under the law.
Eric Clemens back here at Lewis Field in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Texas A&M leading Oklahoma State 10-6 at the break. And as you watch the Oklahoma State University marching band entertain the wet crowd here at the half. And I'm still pretty wet on the field as well. Let's take a look at some of the day's major action around college football, starting with 3 unbeaten teams who remain that way. Number 1, Ohio State. As expected, an easy time with Indiana, 38-7. David Boston had a 70-yard punt return for a score in that one. Number 3, Tennessee, easy over South Carolina, 49-14. T. Martin, 23 straight completions in that one with 4 touchdowns. He set 3 NCAA passing records. And Kansas State still unbeaten, easy over Kansas, 54-6. Michael Bishop, a big total offensive day. As I fumble through my wet papers here to go to page 2 of our scoreboard, Georgia. A big loser at Florida, 38-7. Johnson with 4 touchdown passes. The big upset of the day, Texas over Nebraska, 20-16. Ricky Williams, 152 yards rushing. You might want to put his name back atop that Heisman Trophy hopeful list. Penn State, as expected, easy over Illinois, 27-0. And finally, some of the major scores from around the nation. Arkansas, tough time with Auburn, but they win it. Do the Razorbacks 24-21. Clint Storner, 18-28, 232 yards and 2 touchdowns. It was Syracuse over Pittsburgh. Donovan McNabb, a huge total offensive day with 326 yards there. And number 20, Virginia Tech over number 21, West Virginia, 27-13. Immediately following football here on Fox Sports Net, the final Formula One race of the year, the Japan Grand Prix. And for a preview, let's join Peter Windsor from Japan.
Coming up next, the final and deciding round of the 1998 Formula One World Championship from Suzuka, Japan. One driver will emerge from this race as world champion, Ferrari's Michael Schumacher or McLaren's Mika Hakkinen. We spoke to Hakkinen and asked him about the Suzuka circuit.
I'm really happy we are racing here for the final Grand Prix. I think this track is one of the best in the world, exciting circuit to drive. This is the life all about when you are in the top in the Formula One, and when you're winning races and when you're leading championship. This is it.
How close is this race going to be? Mika Hakkinen, the very cool Finn, has one more win to his credit than Michael Schumacher, the Teutonic German Ferrari driver. That gives him a slight advantage, but both drivers effectively going into this Grand Prix winning from the front. Mika Hakkinen has never won the world title before. Michael Schumacher has 2 to his credit. Both drivers are going to be very, very ably supported by their teammates. It's going to be an outstanding race from the front. Don't miss it. Coming up next.
Thank you, Peter. That's going to be a great race coming up right after college football right here on Fox Sports Net. Time now to take another break as our Marriott halftime report continues. When we return, Ron and Artie will dissect the first half. But before we go to break, let's take a look at some other major scores from around the nation. We'll be back in just a few moments.
Let's go, Dr. Pepper.
Barbara and I have known him for a long, long time, and everyone in our family strongly supports him. You have a good man. He's demonstrated his integrity and honor in office.
Rick, I look forward to having you by my side. It's important that Texans elect Rick Perry. He's a man of honor, he's a man of integrity, and he's trustworthy.
My heart is where Barbara's is, where George's is, in the Perry corner.
College football on Fox Sports Net is brought to you locally by Duckhead Apparel. Here in the South, they're not Yankees, they're Duckheads. And by Sonic Drive-In, where we invite you to drive in for a change.
Who will protect our tax dollars? Governor Bush's choice, Carol Rylander for comptroller. As railroad commissioner, Rylander rejected a pay raise and cut staff. When Paul Hobby led the General Services Commission, auditors exposed waste and mismanagement. Liberal Hobby helped pass a $2 billion tax hike. Rylander opposed the tax hike and a state income tax. Liberal Hobby refused to vote for Governor Bush's $1 billion property tax cut. Rylander supported Bush's tax cut. Carol Rylander for comptroller.
Hi, I'm Dick Clark, and now everyone can enjoy the freedom of the new ISIS cellular phone from Philips thanks to prepaid cellular.
Introducing prepaid cellular from Worldwide Direct. With prepaid cellular phone cards, there's no monthly bills.
Take the phone just in case.
Thank you.
And no contract, no credit check, and no deposit. Got car trouble?
My car's broken down. Can you come and help?
Help is just a call away. So forget those outrageous phone bills. With prepaid cellular phone cards, buying airtime is easy. Order from home and the phone arrives at your door ready to use. Get the Philips ISIS prepaid cellular phone, a $199 value, now just 3 easy payments of $33. And there's no contract, no credit check, no deposit, and no monthly bills.
So pick up the phone, America. It's for you.
Now, for only 3 payments of $33, you're guaranteed cellular service regardless of your credit history. Call 1-800-841-1237. Pick up the phone, America. It's for you.
This is Fox Sports Southwest.
And welcome back to the Marriott Halftime Report. Eric Clemens on the field in Stillwater, Oklahoma, Lewis Field, where Oklahoma State trails Texas A&M 10-6 at the break. Now time to bring my colleagues back to dissect the first half. Ron Thulin and Artie Gigantino will do just that. Guys, take it away.
Thank you, Eric. You're our MVP for putting up with the rain tonight. Artie, I think when you look back at the half, not much offense on the part of either team for the most part, but what was special was the specialty team.
Absolutely. The kicking game, and especially for Texas A&M, has been the difference. They have 2 kickoff returns for 104 yards. And that's like a big one in terms of turnovers. Now, you're going to see Chris Taylor here take the ball back into the red zone for Texas A&M. What this does, it not only gives you position, A&M scored a touchdown on this drive, but it also kind of breaks the back of Oklahoma State in terms of enthusiasm and in terms of momentum, because they were playing very enthusiastically up until that kickoff return.
Can you play almost too conservatively in weather like this?
Oh, yeah. I think you got to be careful not to be too conservative. And, you know, you look at the stats, Tony Lindsay only has 1 yard rushing. He's 4 out of 7 in terms of passing. So I think if you're Oklahoma State, you got to try to open it up a little bit more. And one stat that's not on there, they're 0 for 6 in terms of third down conversions. And you got to convert third downs. Time of possession is almost equal. The total yardage is almost equal. But you got to be able to convert third downs. And Oklahoma State's got to get Tony Lindsay going again.
But as we heard R.C. Slocum as we went to break at the end of the first half, there's still a lot of football left to be played. And in this kind of weather, anything can happen. We'll step aside when we come back. The second half kickoff from Stillwater, where the Aggies lead the Cowboys 10-6.
Now those fantastic restaurant onion creations can be made right in your own home. Introducing the Great American Steakhouse Onion Machine. It's easy, it's fun, and it's oh so onion delicious. Don't confuse the Steakhouse Onion Machine with those hard-to-use plastic gadgets that only do small onions. You start with a nice large onion, trim and clean, then remove the center. Place the onion under the stainless steel blades of your Steakhouse Onion Machine and push down. You'll have a perfect onion creation. Just dip it and cook it in oil or bake it in the oven. In no time, your onion is golden brown delicious, just like they serve it in the restaurant. It's a special treat for the kids and great for your own parties. Call now and get this deep frying basket and colorful recipe book. It's only $19.99. So order your Great American Steakhouse Onion Machine now.
To order the Onion Machine for only $19.99 plus shipping, have your credit card ready and call 1-800-225-9944. Sorry, no CODs.
Landlord! Cable guy!
It's the police! Open up!
Yo quiero Taco Bell.
Hey, nacho lovers. Get a massive order of Nachos Bel Grande for just 99 cents when you buy a large drink. That's over $1 off. Better hurry.
Texas law officers, the men and women who lay it on the line, support Jim Maddox for Attorney General. Maddox's opponent has never prosecuted a criminal case, has no law enforcement experience, and says he won't even emphasize law enforcement. Law officers trust Jim Maddox, a proven prosecutor for Chief Law Enforcement Officer of Texas.
As Attorney General, I have one standard. No matter who you are, that you play by the rules. They call it tough. I call it equal justice under the law.
College football on Fox Sports Net is brought to you locally by Mercedes-Benz. Call 1-800-4MERCEDES for the authorized dealer near you.
With Texas A&M leading by 4 at intermission, they will have to do without the services of Dante Hall, the tailback. He has re-injured his shoulder, another stinger. He is out. So that puts Jamar Toombs maybe in a little tailback tonight.
Yeah, and I think it's going to affect the A&M offense in terms of their signal calling because Sir Parker is not as big as Dante Hall. He's a half receiver, half tailback. And if you put him back there for the entire second half, physically, I'm not sure he can hold up. Right. But also, when Toombs goes to tailback, you have to adjust your offense because he's not a tailback that's going to go in motion a great deal like they do with Hall and like they do with Parker.
And Parker, this is his first week back. He didn't even play against Texas Tech.
Right, so he's coming in a little banged up also.
Chris Taylor bobbles it, and he is going to take a knee about 1.5 yards deep, and Texas A&M will begin 1st and 10 from their own 20.
At the beginning of the year, Texas A&M was very, very solid at their running back position. But so far this year, it's been nothing but a nightmare in terms of injuries. They lost Tiki Hardeman to an academic problem. They've had a rash of injuries at the fullback and the tailback position, which has forced a guy like Toombs to start.
Funny because, R.C. Slocum telling us in July at the Big 12 meetings in Dallas that, running back was one of the positions they had a lot of luxury with because they had a lot of depth, and that's not the case anymore.
High casualty rate, though. Remember, everybody wants to hit him on every play.
Well, Toombs is the fullback, and Sir Parker begins the second half at the tailback spot. Penalty flag is thrown.
One of the negatives of audibling too much at the line of scrimmage is sometimes the quarterback...
I'll start. Offense.
Sometimes the quarterback takes too much time, and I think that was a situation there. And sometimes when he changes up the cadence a little bit, there's movement.
That's only the second penalty for Texas A&M. Oklahoma State has been penalized 5 times already in the ball game.
R.C. Slocum football teams are never heavily penalized. It's a disciplined program, and they are a smart football team that doesn't beat themselves.
1st and 15, ball on the 15-yard line. McCowan threw 17 times in the first half, stays alive. Crosses the 20 to the 25-yard line, and his scrambling ability is shown again as Ricky Thompson finally runs him out of bounds. Waddle put the quarterback pressure on Randy McCowan.
That was a blitz that time by Oklahoma State, and McCowan showing his mobility. Now watch what happens here. Kenyatta Wright, number 7, goes inside. He goes there, and Levens comes over the top here. Watch the back step up and make a great block. That was Sir Parker, number 8, steps up and knocks down Dwayne Levels. Good mobility again by Randy McCowan.
Well, Rob Ryan's got some interesting names for his blitzes. He names them the church scheme, the under mass scheme, the under church scheme, and he also names his blitzes after coaches' kids. That's easy to remember, I'd have to think. Well, Sir Parker is holding his right arm. And also Ricky Thompson of Oklahoma State was slow to get up after running McCown out of bounds.
And Oklahoma State needs this guy on the field because he's a valuable player. And coming into the game, he had a bruised shoulder too, but he's played the entire game tonight. He's an excellent, excellent safety in this league. Because he can do, excuse me, Ronnie, he can do it all. He can blitz, he can cover, he can run support. He's the complete safety.
Pickup of 11 sets up a 2nd and 4 for Texas A&M. Parker in motion, Oklahoma State, a bunch on the line of scrimmage. 3-step drop, a little alley-oop pass is going to be incomplete. No penalty flag is thrown. Now it's thrown. Late flag intended for Parker.
Now remember, at the end of the half, we talked about you have to change up your audibles a little bit. That was an example of it right there. Instead of a 3-step slant, it was a 3-step fade where the receiver, that time Parker, went down the field.
Disregard the flag. Non-catchable pass.
Well, RC doesn't like it. He's saying Evan Howell was locked up with Sir Parker. You be the judge.
Well, it was close. It was close. It looks like there definitely is some contact there, but I don't know. I think that ball would have been catchable. And he does not like it because he's saying it in French what he really thinks.
They don't have French in Orange, Texas, do they? 3rd down and 4 for the Aggies from the shotgun. Oklahoma State showing blitz. McCowan's going to keep it straight up the middle. He's got the 1st down and he refuses to go down. What a job by that young man.
Quarterback mobility. Coming into the game, he had rushed for over 170 yards. Now here's Kenyatta Wright. He starts to come up the field. He doesn't know where McCowan is. He gets blocked. He gets shielded out of the play. McCowan picks the hole perfectly. But make no mistake about it, this is a quarterback draw. This is not a quarterback scramble. And when you blitz and you don't have a free safety sitting in the middle of the field, there's no one to come up and make the play. And McCowan did a wonderful job that time of picking his hole.
And he is the leading rusher for A&M tonight. Great block, by the way, by Daniel Campbell, the tight end. 1st and 10 for the Aggies. They keep it on the ground. Sir Parker banging around. Finally wrapped up by Courtney Mallory. Ricky Thompson also in on the tackle, and Dwayne Levels.
The first drive of the 2nd half, if you have the ball, always sets the tempo for the 2nd half. And you want R.C. Slocum wants to see his football team march down the field here now and get some points out of this drive.
Coach is talking about Randy McCown last night. Says he doesn't like to go out of bounds. He doesn't like to take a knee. We saw it on that draw.
He's a competitive young guy.
He's a great athlete. 2nd down and 6. Burnest, Rhodes, and Toombs now in the backfield. And it is Rhodes, left side. Looking for some kind of daylight, but he is going to be wrapped up and a penalty flag is thrown. Evan Howell coming up from that quarterback spot to make the stop.
That might be a face mask, Ron, because of where it was thrown from.
Officials have been kept busy tonight. It's going to be a hold. Eric Clemens, you spent some time with Coach Bob Simmons of Oklahoma State right after the half.
Sure did, guys. And Bob Simmons looked at me, shrugged his shoulders, and said, hey, my guys are in the game. All we got to do is tackle a little bit better, move the ball on offense, and we'll have plenty of opportunities to win it. So far, that big run by McCown, they haven't tackled too well so far on this drive. We'll see if they can stiff it up defensively.
He made a good point, tackling, which has been a problem for Oklahoma State.
Yeah, last week, Eric, if you recall, the coaches were talking to us about the poor tackling.
Absolutely, they were. And, of course, Rob Ryan, the defensive coordinator here, was a little bit perturbed with his team over the past couple of weeks, guys. He said, too much trash talking off the field. Let's let some tackling do the talking on the field. So far, so today and tonight on this drive.
Yeah, when we watched the video, we all agreed that they were very sloppy last week in terms of their tackling.
2nd and 14. Oklahoma State showing blitz, almost offsides. McCown's pass is overthrown, incomplete, intended for Leroy Hodge. Oklahoma State brought a bundle, and McCown took a big-time hit.
Well, this is the kind of defense that Coach Ryan wants to play here tonight. Get a whole bunch of guys up around the line of scrimmage. Now look at all these guys up in here. There's like 8, 9 guys up in there, and that is a blitzing front. But you got 2 corners sitting out here all by themselves, which is why McCown tries to throw the ball down the field. But that was an 8-man all-out blitz, but it puts a lot of pressure on Johnny Burnett, the secondary coach, and his corners and his one safety back there. But I like the aggressive style.
A&M's averaged 7 yards on 3rd down. McCown has some time, lofts it up, pass is going to be caught by Derek Spiller, the big tight end. What touch by Randy McCown again, and Spiller hauls it in.
It's going to be a pick play on the outside. The wide receiver is going to come down inside. Spiller's going to run a wheel route around him. It's legal if the official doesn't see it. And obviously he didn't see it that time. But it's a great call against man-to-man coverage from a trip set. It was a pick play by the wide receiver.
And we talked about the tight ends of Texas A&M. We saw Spiller, one of them right there, picking up 20. Another first down.
They're very, very athletic, and you got to be in the overall game.
Toombs and Parker in the I formation. Ball on the 27, the option. McCown pitches it out of bounds, and he is hit hard and driven back about 4 yards after the hit. Dwayne Levels leveled him.
You couldn't wait to say that tonight.
I had that down.
You had that written down.
You have to look for the Halloween name, first of all.
Well, he's a redshirt freshman, Levels is. He's 6'3", he's 220 pounds. And again, in this defense, the linebackers have got to be big play guys, and he fits the bill because he's big, he's tough, and he can run. And Rob Ryan loves him.
Out of Richardson, Texas. 2nd down and 17 after the loss of 7. Ernest Rhodes and Toombs in the backfield. McCowan looking in the flat, overthrown. Pass intended for Bumgardner, who already has a touchdown pass tonight, his first of 1998. That'll bring up a 3rd down and 17.
Now, as this game has unfolded, it looks like Texas A&M has become more confident in throwing the football down the field. Not so much the short stuff, but down the field.
Well, they've already thrown the ball 20 times tonight. They threw it only 8 times versus Nebraska.
Well, you know, in the last 3 weeks, they've only had 14 completions. So they have not really thrown the ball a great deal, but they haven't had to.
And McCowan may be hurt. He is going off to the sideline, and Brandon Stewart's going to come into the lineup. And this is where Steve Craigthorpe said this is a quarterback luxury. He said if we have to send in Brandon Stewart, we don't mind because we know he can win football games.
Well, and he started the first 4 games this year, and it's been tough on him to go from the starter to not playing because he hasn't played in the last 4 games. But he's handled it with great maturity, and the coaches are proud of him, and he showed that he's a team guy.
That's Steve Craigthorpe's comment. We don't have a quarterback controversy. We have a luxury. We've got 2 guys we can win with. And, of course, Brandon Stewart was the hero last year between these 2 teams down in College Station. The touchdown pass to Cole with 43 seconds left tied it up. Now he faces 3rd and 17, and he'll go from the shotgun. The Cowboys only bring 4. His first pass complete. Touchdown, Texas A&M's Chris Taylor.
42, Chris Taylor, touchdown, Texas A&M.
Well, he's going to be a happy guy. That's pretty good. You come in, you throw a home run on the first play. But, you know, that's the difference between a youngster, Ron, that has played before in big games and a guy who's a young freshman or sophomore that hasn't played. Great poise that time for Brandon Stewart, and I'll tell you, I'm happy for him because I know this has been a tough trial for him in terms of not being the starter.
Well, Coach Johnson likes it.
You know, I love that, to see a defensive line coach go over and hug the quarterback.
Well, the extra point is good. Chris Taylor had only 4 touches coming into tonight, but he has 3 on receptions for 60 yards and a touchdown. Stewart hits him, and the Aggies have upped their lead.
Enterprise, rent a car for my trip? Looks expensive.
It's not expensive, Mom.
They pick us up? Sounds expensive.
Pickup's free, Mom.
Well, if it's not expensive, why didn't I get a convertible?
Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
Shop. I need to rent a car.
Enterprise will arrange to pick you up.
This is great.
Drive you to our place and get you on your way. Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
Rob Ryan and Bob Simmons none too pleased with their defense. They give up the touchdown toss to Cole or to Taylor, and it's 17-6. A&M leads. Still plenty of time left.
Well, it's disheartening. You know, you're playing good on defense. You're running around, and you think a guy's going to come in cold off the bench, and bingo, he throws a touchdown pass on you.
Only took him 2 minutes and 45 seconds. White, Grissom, and Fobbs set to receive the kick. And it'll be Grissom. Tries to get to the outside, splits the defense, cuts back. Still on his feet. Great return by Willie Grissom. Makes his way up to the 48. Chad Franson, the 12th man, gets the tackle.
Well, it's a short kick, but you're going to see some A&M guys come down the field and lose their footing. It's hard to cover kicks on a wet surface. Grissom does a good job of getting it up the field, and this could give them a little momentum back. There's the touchdown now. You look at Stewart. He drops back. He reads the coverage. He throws the ball to Taylor on a skinny post. But the guy who can make the tackle is number 9, Ricky Thompson. He's the safety who comes over and misses the tackle.
17-6, Oklahoma State trailing. Simmons left side, not much running room. Cedric Curry on the stop.
Simmons moving the ball.
Back to the touchdown. Now watch Taylor up here. He's going to run a skinny post. Now this is Thompson. He's a middle third, 1/3 zone player. He's going to come up. He's going to react to the football and miss the tackle. Oklahoma State is playing zone defense here. You got 3 third players, but number 9 Thompson's got to balance up and make that tackle because that's what he's in the middle for.
Now Rice wanted Chris Taylor as a quarterback to run their option. He's a 4-3 sprinter, and he showed it there. 2nd down and 6. Simmons got the first down, still on his feet, into A&M territory, down to the 37-yard line. Great balance by Nathan Simmons.
You know, Ron, when you make a big play in the kicking game, like that kickoff return, it energizes your football team. And you see some energy now coming out of this offense of Oklahoma State.
Quick update on Randy McCown, the Texas A&M quarterback. He has a bruised shoulder. He might return is the official word. What a luxury, though, having Brandon Stewart with all his starts under his belt. 1st and 10. They keep it on the ground with Simmons again. Crosses the 35 down to the 33-yard line.
Both of these teams are unique. You know, you bring up the 2 quarterback system, or quote 2 quarterbacks at Texas A&M. Well, Oklahoma State has 2 quarterbacks. Chris Halupka has played a great deal. So if Lindsey were to go down, they also have a relief pitcher that they can put in the game and have confidence in.
And Halupka did come into the game against Tulsa earlier in the season and had some success. Pickup of 4, 2nd and 6 for Oklahoma State. In A&M territory, Simmons is going to be wrapped up. Loss of about 2 on the play. You know, we talk about that big physical offensive line by Oklahoma State. That time, A&M got the best of them.
And Ron Edwards, a young sophomore out of Houston, does a heck of a job of coming up the field. And Coach Bill Johnson rotates his defensive linemen. And you see Edwards get up the field, get some penetration, and make the play in the backfield. This is not a big defensive line from Texas A&M. They average out at about 260, but they're athletic, they're well coached, and they play hard.
3rd and 7. Lindsey will go from the shotgun. 3 wide receivers left. Pass is incomplete. Right into the hands of Marcellus Rivers, the redshirt freshman. And Rivers took a big-time hit, but it was Dat Wynn on the blitz, put a little pressure on Lindsey.
Mike Hankwitz, the defense coordinator, changing up and blitzing Oklahoma State. Dat Wynn comes completely clean and gets in the vision of Lindsey throwing the ball. But this is a good hit that Mike Hankwitz, the defensive coordinator, is going to absolutely love.
Oh, Rich Cody. Well, he lowered the boom, didn't he?
He's a tough guy, and he plays hard. And his dad, ironically, played for the Bears, which is where the defense of Oklahoma State came from. The Chicago Bears with Buddy Ryan.
And Cody's quite a story, a former Wildcat. Elder set to kick it away. A high kick trying to get it inside the 5, and he's going to be able to do it again. Again, it is Howell, and the special teams of Oklahoma State come up big as Elder gets another one inside the 20.
And it's not a long distance, but it's great, great field position.
This year, Big 12 athletes are lining up, not only on the field of play, but to support another group of athletes, Special Olympians. Each year, athletes, coaches, and administrators from across the conference participate in a variety of Special Olympic activities, from tennis to swimming to track and field. The Big 12 Conference and Special Olympics have formed a winning partnership.
Some sports are better for the heart.
Special Olympics and the Big 12 Conference, a partnership for life.
What are the most trusted names in golf saying about the Orlemar Tri-Metal?
I've been doing television for 31 years and people have learned to trust me. I have never believed that bigger is better. I believe that performance is better. And the performance of the Tri-Metal has convinced me that it's the only club I'll use.
Orlemar has become the leader in multi-material technology. Independent tests prove the Tri-Metal is longer and straighter.
It's impossible for a single material golf club to outperform the Tri-Metal.
And in just a few short months, the Tri-Metal became the #1 played fairway wood on the PGA Tour. Pros and amateurs alike are putting the Tri-Metal in their bags.
I've said it before, and I'm going to keep saying it until every golfer hears me. Oversized is over, and the Tri-Metal is the right size club.
Call now to receive your free video on the Tri-Metal. We'll also rush you a free subscription to Great Golf Magazine, the insider's guide to new technology and in-depth interviews from the world of golf. Call now.
This is Fox Sports Southwest.
Back at Lewis Field in Stillwater, where Texas A&M, number 8 in the country, leads Oklahoma State 17-6. 9:31 to play in quarter number 3. This Oklahoma State defense wants 3 turnovers a game. They've only forced 1 tonight, but you get the feeling, Artie, they have to have one on this possession right now.
Oh yeah, especially in this field position, because they can get right back into this football game and get this crowd going wild.
A&M, Jamar Toombs still on his feet. Whistle's not blowing. He gets up to the 5, and a penalty flag is thrown. And another penalty flag is thrown. We've got a couple, and the Oklahoma State players are cheering. They're saying it's against Texas A&M. That will be costly because Toombs got him out of the hole.
Well, you never like to get backed up like that, especially when it's a little bit wet, because if you have to punt, you're in a tough position to kick the ball past midfield.
Dead ball, personal foul on the offense, penalized from the end of the run, half the distance, 2nd down.
Well, Coach Slocum will not be very happy about that, because those are penalties you can control.
They're going to call it 2nd down and 9. Toombs was making his way over the 10-yard line when that happened. Now again, their backs are on the goal line. from the I formation. Toombs is the fullback again. Rhodes is the tailback. Fumble, the ball is loose. And A&M, I think, got it back. Oklahoma State says they have it. A&M says they have it. But the guys in the stripe are the only ones that count.
Well, Brandon Stewart probably has not worked with the first unit very much this week. You're going to see him on the snap, but the ball goes right through his hands. Probably because he a little bit too quick, but the ball looked like it slipped through there. So that was a combination of things. But in these situations with wet balls and wet weather, you got to be doubly safe when you're handling the football on the snap.
3rd down and 9. Oklahoma State with 9 on the line of scrimmage. And the Aggies just keep it on the ground with Ernest Rhodes. Crosses the 5, gets to the 6, but at least give them some elbow room as they kick it away.
Great camera work this time of seeing the snap go right into Stewart's hands and the ball being handed off.
Well, the Oklahoma State defense stood up to the challenge and got exactly what they want. Leckler will be kicking into the wind.
Now, Terrence Richardson, the return man's got to be smart here. Signal for a fair catch and make sure he secures good field position.
He is standing inside the 50. A great kick. Nice and high. He wants to return it from the 49-yard line. Gets up to the 45 to the 44-yard line. 43 yards on the kick, 5 on the return. But Oklahoma State already in A&M territory. Field position, field position, and field position. We'll step aside with the Aggies leading the Cowboys.
It's Thrifty Car Rental's 40th birthday, so let's get the show on the road. Call 1-800-4CARS. There's something special going on at Thrifty Car Rental and Blockbuster Video. You rent a car from Thrifty, you get a free movie rental from Blockbuster Video. Just ask. When you rent a car at Thrifty, you'll drive home with a free movie rental from Blockbuster Video. Get the show on the road with Thrifty Car Rental and Blockbuster Video. Call 1-800-4CARS.
We come here on a glorious quest, to search for that which can be found nowhere else. Where, in the trenches where mighty men clash, amidst the echoes of glories past, high atop Olympus? No, this is our quest. This is what football is all about. Now all I gotta do is find that nacho guy.
Join Joe Buck for compelling stories with intriguing people. When you want more than the headlines, you gotta go deep. Going Deep, Sundays on Fox Sports Net.
Many people are frustrated with politics, and who can blame them? That's why I've set a positive tone and focused on important issues. I'm working on policies that encourage personal responsibility. I've laid out a specific agenda to teach every child to read, to strengthen the juvenile justice system, to reform welfare, and to help our children make right choices in life. I know where I want to lead our state. I'm an optimist. When Republicans, Democrats, and Independents work together, Texas wins. I'd appreciate your support on Tuesday.
That's an interesting sight. Dad, I'm going to college and I paint my face.
And please send money.
Yeah, really.
Hey, you know what, though? You got to love it. They're having
great.
a great time.
Well, the Cowboys haven't had a great time so far. 7:45 left in the third. They trail 17-6. Lindsey's going to put it up. A very safe pass, but it's incomplete. Intended for Jamal Fobbs. And now it's time for a Dr. Pepper game break. And we take you to Stanford at UCLA. 17-14. Stanford leading in the third quarter when Russell Stewart catches the 3-yard pass for a touchdown. Makes it 24-14. Stanford on top, but UCLA has scored, and it's 24-21. UCLA losing.
So much for the championship series if UCLA ends up losing.
You got that right. And you can hear the cheers from Manhattan, Kansas when that score comes up. Nathan Simmons on the carry, straight up the middle. That defensive line of Texas A&M, you just can't say enough about these guys. Back in '96, R.C. Slocum looked and said, hey, we don't have a whole lot of guys out there. Went and recruited 6 of them.
all young, and they've all played as true freshmen, and now some are sophomores, obviously. But I think Bill Johnson, the defensive line coach, has got it right because he coaches activity. And through the activity of them stunting and moving around, he gets great results.
Alfredy's the fullback, Simmons the tailback. Lindsey's changing things up on 3rd and 4. The option, he tripped and doesn't get it. And boy, oh boy, Simmons, nobody was near him.
Well, Jason Webster came across the line of scrimmage and looks like he got a hand on him and tripped him up, because that was an audible at the line of scrimmage because Lindsey felt it was going to be a blitz. So he audible to an option.
Do you go for it?
Yes. Nope, I guess not.
Well,
he's got the wind, Ron. He's got the wind. I thought the wind had died down. I think it's a good idea here to kick a field goal. Get points on the board.
Well, instead, Scott Elder will kick it away, standing on his own 48-yard line. Chris Taylor set to receive it, calling the fair catch, and he does right at the 9-yard line. Nice job again by Elder. 28-yard kick, but it got the job done. Tomorrow it's Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader. First, 2 NFC Central rivals clash as the Vikings battle the Buccaneers. Then 2 legends of the game clash as Steve Young leads the 49ers against Brett Favre in the rematch of last year's NFC Championship game. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on Fox.
I'm near Rick now.
Do you know that Steve Young has never thrown a touchdown pass against the Green Bay Packers as a 49er quarterback? He threw 2 when he was in Tampa, but none as a 49er.
Fumble, the ball is loose. Does Oklahoma State have it? They're going to have to break up the pile to see who's got it. 2 fumbles by A&M, and I think the Aggies have it. Early on, Artie, we talked about what the changes would be when Randy McCowan becomes quarterback. How about now? How do you change your game plan, or don't you?
Well, I think you become a little bit more conservative with Brandon Stewart. That's the first thing. Second thing is try to get the snap, which, like you said, they've missed 2 here. But the one thing they don't do with Stewart, they don't run the option. They don't audible to the option very much.
They dodged another bullet. 2nd and 11. Stewart pitches it, still on his feet. Curtis Rhodes gets up to the 8-yard line. Let's get an update on Randy McCowan's condition with Eric Clemens.
All right, I'm on the Texas A&M sideline, guys. McCowan actually has a slight separation in his throwing shoulder. It doesn't hurt him to throw the football, but when he puts his arms down to take the snap, there's a lot of pain. He has been cleared to return to the game, but the coaches fear he might take another hit on that shoulder and suffer further injury, so it might be Brandon Stewart for the remainder of at least this contest, guys.
That's Ray Dorr, the quarterback coach, right in front of Randy McCowan. 3rd down and 10. Toombs and Rhodes in the backfield, and the crowd is very loud down at that end of the field. Toombs tries to get to the 15, up to the 18-yard line, be about 1.5 yards short of the first down. You know, he doesn't quit pumping his feet, does he?
No, he can move, and he's really, really hard to obviously bring down. Breaks a lot of tackles. You know, Ray Dorr does a wonderful job of coaching footwork and ball handling, and there's a good example of it. But there's also a good example of the big guy Toombs running violently and forcing defenders to miss tackles on him.
He broke 3 tackles. Terrence Richardson fields the punt at the 44. And the white jerseys are there to stack them up and lower the boom on them. The kick covered 39. The return wasn't much. It was 8. But Oklahoma State has the football again with pretty good field position. Well, R.C. Slocum wanted to get the Wrecking Crew defense back a couple of years ago, and here's what they've done against some stars in college football this year.
And obviously the big one was against Nebraska because they beat Nebraska. It was a huge win for the A&M program. But to hold Troy Edwards to only 67 yards when he had over 400 yards against Nebraska earlier in the year is quite an accomplishment.
Akins the fullback, Simmons the tailback, and R.C. Slocum's squad leads 17-6. Simmons losing his feet as he crosses the 50. He's now become the all-time leading tackler in Texas A&M history. Datwin averages over 10 tackles a game. Now he has passed Johnny Holland. He is number 1. Congratulations to that young man. Ed Simonini, not too shabby of a linebacker.
Johnny Holland wasn't either. He's a special teams coach now for the Green Bay Packers after a wonderful career as a linebacker in the NFL.
A loss of 2, 2nd down and 12. Inside of 3.5 left in the 3rd. Lindsey started to run, lets it fly, incomplete. Simmons said he was being held. Lindsey gets up slowly. Ellis Hardcore Football on Fox Sports Net with Ronnie Lott, Bill Moss, and Ron Pitts as they bring you turf talk from the toughest guys in the NFL. Hardcore X's and O's. Hardcore blood, sweat, and tears. Hardcore football for the hardcore fan. This week's featured guest is a great one. Former Steeler Rocky Bleier. I love it. Hardcore football Tuesday at 8 o'clock on Fox Sports Net.
You talk about tough guys. And,
hey, baby.
And that's tough for Oklahoma State tonight to be 0 of 8 on 3rd down conversions. You got to convert 3rd downs.
And Tony Lindsey is going to burn a timeout. Probably a pretty smart play. They will be against the wind in the 4th quarter. Want to take advantage of the time they have with the wind. 3:18 left to play in the 3rd. Texas A&M trying to win their 8th straight. They lead Oklahoma State 17-6.
Do you have trouble driving in the rain? Is the glare unbearable at night? That's why STP created Vision Blade glass treatment. Vision Blade forms an invisible barrier that repels water and virtually eliminates glare. It applies in minutes and it lasts for 6 months. This muddy water sticks to the glass on the untreated side. But with Vision Blade, the dirt and grime sheets away and your view remains clear. And now Vision Blade is available in 2 sizes to meet all drivers' needs. See what you've been missing with Vision Blade.
For a Pentium 2 processor.
On 3rd down and 12, Lindsey steps up, throws it into the flat. The pass is complete, and it might be short of the 1st down depending on the spot. Willie Grissom on the catch. He was standing right at the marker, but when he caught it, he took a step forward.
It's going to be very close, and I would bet that Coach Simmons will go for it if it is indeed 4th down, because you got to give yourself a boost.
That is Don Caprell, the head linesman. He's the one who made the spot, and it is short. 4th down, and you got to go for it.
Well, Rennell Levine comes in the game, number 60, and they're going to go to an unbalanced line here and run the ball somewhere up inside. As you can see, 8 out of 12 this year on 4th down.
Lindsey plays it safe, and he's got the 1st down. And once again, Akins came running in late. At the Nebraska game, we saw when OSU had the ball, 1st and goal, time running out on the 1. They had a little mix-up, and we almost had it again there.
And you know what? It was the exact same formation because Levine was the substituted lineman that came in. They just weren't set on that play against Nebraska.
Well, they're going to measure. They didn't give it to him. I thought Lindsey had it. Maybe A&M just requested the measurement.
You know, it looks from up here like he's got it, but
piece of cake.
It's a piece of cake is right. But you know, this gives you a boost as an offensive football team. You know, and it looks like Tony Lindsey is starting to get his confidence back because he hasn't played very well tonight.
And he really hasn't. Lindsey's only rushed for 4 yards on 7 carries. Throwing the football, he's 5 of 11. But he's had last year, do you think he may have overachieved?
Yeah, I think, he played beyond his years a little bit as a freshman. And everything was going right for him. But this year, it seems like nothing's gone right for the guy.
On 1st and 10, Simmons takes a big hit as he makes his way up to the 35-yard line. Datwin lowered the boom.
You know, Ron, going back to Tony Lindsey, but he's also a young man who's very quiet, very sincere, and he might be trying too hard. And Ron Calcagni, the offensive coordinator, was talking to us yesterday about that. He's a guy you have to handle with kid gloves, but maybe he's a victim of just trying too hard.
1:43 to play in the third. 2nd down and 9 for the Cowboys, trailing 17-6. Play action. Lindsey scrambling. Pass. Is it intercepted? Yes! Warwick Holdman with the pick. His first interception of the year. Well, that win calls him the best athlete on the defensive team, and we saw it on that play.
What's going to happen now? This is going to be a bootleg up to the top. You're going to see Lindsey come out on the corner, but watch Holdman get over here and pick the ball off. The ball is intended for number 85, Rivers. Rivers comes inside, runs out. Holdman just makes an athletic play by going up in the air and taking it down. This is really good linebacker play, and it's a one-handed catch.
Great job by our camera crew.
Great job.
Good pictures, folks. And Oklahoma State turns it over. A&M 1st and 10 from the 31. Toombs again getting some workhorse load. Once again, Dante Hall, shoulder stinger. He is out. Randy McCowan, a slight separation of his shoulder. He is out for Texas A&M.
And because of those things, Ron, I think you're going to see R.C. Slocum and Steve Craythorpe, the offensive coordinator, try to slow this game down as much as possible. There's 1 minute left here in the third quarter, 16 minutes left in the game. Hey, let's be conservative and not make the big mistake.
But do not forget, last year that man was down by 15 points entering the fourth quarter. They came back to win it in overtime. Oklahoma State would love for that to happen. Toombs again. Just puts down the run straight ahead. Kenyatta Wright stacking things up. The junior out of Vian, Oklahoma.
But that's some collision when Wright and Toombs bang into each other. It's almost 500 pounds just banging into each other.
Right.
You can hear that up here.
Rob Ryan continues the guesswork. A&M is not going to snap it. They're going to let the clock run down, and that will end the third quarter of play. And then when they take over again in the fourth, they'll have 3rd down and 3 from the 38-yard line. 3 quarters are now in the books. And the number 8 team in the country, the Texas A&M Aggies, will head to quarter number 4 with a 17-6 lead over Oklahoma State.
It's a place of quiet dignity, where tradition is respected and tastefully observed. And now, during Buick's Fall Collection event, Park Avenue is even more rewarding. Never has your move to Park Avenue been so inviting. Park Avenue by Buick.
After 40 years in the market, it takes a lot to rattle us.
Call American Century at 1-800-660-0092.
It's Thrifty Car Rental's 40th birthday, so let's get the show on the road. Call 1-800-4CARS. There's something special going on at Thrifty Car Rental and Blockbuster Video. You rent a car from Thrifty, you get a free movie rental from Blockbuster Video. Just ask. When you rent a car at Thrifty, you'll drive home with a free movie rental from Blockbuster Video. Get the show on the road with Thrifty Car Rental and Blockbuster Video. Call 1-800-4CARS.
They say for every boy and girl there's just one love in this whole world, and I know I found mine.
Here's
Here's an idea. With GTE Caller ID, you'll know exactly who's on the line.
Nope, not the kids.
So you can decide whether to pick up or not.
Mom? Dad? Home early. Hello? Is anybody here? Hello?
It is a wet, cold Halloween homecoming evening in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and inside of Lewis Field of Stillwater, the Texas A&M Aggies leading Oklahoma State 17-6, along with Artie Gigantino and Eric Clemens. I'm Ron Thulin as we head to the final 15 minutes of the ball game. Toombs, the only one in the backfield, 3rd and 3 for the Aggies. High steps over the 40 up to the 41-yard line, and he will be close to the first down.
And some tough running inside by him because the Oklahoma State defense had 8 guys right up around the line of scrimmage again, obviously in anticipation of some kind of zone play or some kind of handoff to Toombs.
A&M now 9 of 16 on 3rd down, 50% or better. They were 34% coming into the game. That is a first down. Let's see if A&M puts it up in the air now with Stewart. 2 wide receivers to the right. They'll keep it on the ground with Rhodes. Right side, nothing going. Justin Thomas, a sophomore out of Plano, Texas, whose cousin is Pat Thomas. Played for Texas A&M and also in the NFL on the stop. You got to love it when a linebacker's hobby, like Justin Thomas is a barber. Would you let a linebacker cut your hair?
Where'd you get that?
I don't know.
You read it somewhere? That's great. I didn't know that. He's a physical guy. I know that.
Yeah, but would you want him cutting your hair?
Probably not. You know what? Maybe he makes some money on the side
really.
in the locker room. For the prices today for haircuts.
Oh, 2nd down and 10 for Texas A&M. 3-step drop. Stewart's pass incomplete. No penalty flag. That'll bring up a 3rd down and 10. Now American Century Mutual Funds presents the play of the century, the 1940 Sugar Bowl. The Texas A&M Aggies, the #1 team in the country, trail Tulane 13-7 in the 4th quarter. On this play, John Kimbrough takes the lateral, runs 24 yards for the score. The Aggie running back had 159 yards and 2 touchdowns on today. The extra point was good, and Texas A&M finished the season undefeated and won their only national championship. 3rd and 10 from the shotgun for Stewart. Toombs and Simpson in the backfield. Stewart slips and goes down.
He saw the blitz coming and he tried to get away from it. That time Kenyatta Wright ran that palm blitz, which is a crossing of the 2 linebackers up inside. It's very effective, and the reason it's effective, you see right here, he's going to come in here. The reason it's effective, it gets up into the quarterback's face immediately. And if you're the quarterback right there, you know they're coming right at you. Levels comes around as the other blitzer.
Shane Leckler kicking with the wind. Line drive, not very high. Richardson lets it bounce. It did not hit him. It was close. He almost had a brain cramp. Started to feel it, slipped and fell, almost hit him in the foot. A 47-yard kick, 0 on the return. That was dangerous. 13-12 left to play in the ball game.
Never felt like this until I kissed you, I kissed you, I kissed you, I kissed you. How did I exist until I kissed you, I kissed you, I kissed you. Never had you on my.
When you find the one that's unlike any other, that's when it's love. That's when it's Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper, this is the taste. Dr. Pepper, this is the taste. I kissed you.
Landlord. Cable guy.
It's the police. Open up.
Yo quiero Taco Bell.
Hey, nacho lovers, get a massive order of nachos Bel Grande for just 99 cents when you buy a large drink. That's over $1 off. Better hurry.
From Delhart to Brownsville, El Paso to Texarkana, David Dewhurst is talking to Texans.
What does a land officer do?
The Land Office earns hundreds of millions of dollars every year for public education. I'll make improving public education my top priority. As a proven conservative businessman, I'll work hard as your next land commissioner to earn more money from our state lands for public education.
For Texas, the choice is clear. David Dewhurst, a George Bush Republican for Land Commissioner.
They say closeness only counts in horseshoes. How about this for closeness?
Well, this is debatable. I don't think it touches his foot. Our cameramen and our guys in the truck thinks it might have touched part of his toe there. But as you can see the ball come down, it bounces right up, and it never, like you said, Ron, changes direction. So I think it was a good call by the official, but that was awful close.
That was a little dangerous. Oklahoma State 1st and 10 from their own 14. Lindsey, shuttle pass. Good safe pass to Jamal Fobbs. Gets up to about the 14-yard line, maybe back to the original line of scrimmage.
You know, and you look at Oklahoma State's offense tonight, they just can't generate something. It doesn't look like they're into a rhythm. They tried a lot of different plays in an effort to get things going. But Coach Simmons, Bob Simmons, has got to be frustrated by that, because the one thing this team can do is run the ball. And when they're running it and they get into a rhythm, they're dangerous.
Lindsey 7 rushes for 4 yards. 2nd down and 9, and the rain has come back, and it is coming down hard. Lindsey has some time, steps up in the pocket, gets up to about the 20-yard line. Warwick Holdman again on the stop. He is productive every game.
You know, sometimes when you have a player like a Dat Win, like we talked about in the open, who gets all the publicity, you forget about other people. But you see Holdman here. He goes, he tries to block the pass, he comes off the block, and he hustles to the quarterback and makes the tackle. That's just good, hard, full-speed football.
Scores from around the country in the bottom of your screen. You saw the UCLA score. They're leading 28-24. Keep you posted on that. 3rd down and 6 for the Cowboys. Very important possession. Trailing by 11. Lindsey in the flat, passes in and out of the hands of Willie Grissom.
Ball was a little wet. It's hard to catch when the ball is rising when it gets to you, when it's a little bit wet. I thought it was a good pass that time from Lindsey, but Grissom should have caught it, and certainly would have caught it if it would have been, you know, a dry day in a dry football.
Now the officials call it wet ball mechanics. They try to keep the ball as dry as they possibly can. Elder will kick it away again, standing on his own 5. Chris Taylor set to receive it. He is on his own 46. No rush, low kick, end over end. Taylor's going to let it roll, and it'll get a good roll. Well, Bob Simmons says they looked at their final 4 games as 4 separate seasons. Well, this season is slipping away. 47 yards on the kick. Next week on College Football Saturday, it's a rivalry like none other. Air Force and Army get together at West Point in an annual grudge match that defines the passion and pride of college football. Check your local listings for the games and times in your area.
That's a great one to watch if you like option football.
Yeah, really.
A lot of options being run.
Air Force, of course, a winner over SMU tonight, 31-7 the final. SMU trying to rebuild that program. Randy McCowan's little brother is the quarterback. A&M will keep it on the ground with Toombs. Kenyatta right on the stop. Now if you're Oklahoma State, you've got to start grabbing at the football. Rob Ryan has a drill where they actually just practice stripping the ball.
Well, that's the way you knock the ball loose. The problem with that sometimes is that it puts you in a poorer position to make the tackle. I've always felt as a coach that the first guy makes the tackle, the second guy comes and tries to strip the ball. And I know Rob emphasizes that also. But, you know, sometimes when a guy just goes for the ball, Ron, it puts him in a bad position to make the tackle.
Well, we've seen some bad tackling tonight by Oklahoma State, and it has cost them. A&M going to keep it conservative, maybe. Stewart rolls out, throws across his body, incomplete. Intended for the tight end, Daniel Campbell.
A bootleg pass, and what that does, that gives Stewart the opportunity to get on the perimeter and isolate on one receiver, which is what was going to be that time to the tight end. But again, when you get out on the corner, it cuts down the field. You don't have the whole field to worry about. And Ray Dorr, the quarterback coach, thinks Stewart does a wonderful job of executing the bootleg play.
Oklahoma State must have a stop on 3rd and 9. And a timeout is going to be called by Texas A&M. With 10:37 left to play in the ball game, the rain is coming down. It has gotten extremely cold and it is windy. But R.C. Slocum says, hey, we're used to rain. I think, what, 3 or 4 of our games have been in rain this year already? Will step aside. A&M leads.
No woman had ever been elected to the Texas Supreme Court. Then along came Rose Spector.
I'm Judge Rose Spector, and I think it's time to open the court to all the people of Texas.
Justice Rose Spector was the first woman ever elected to the Texas Supreme Court in its 150-year history. Now she's a leader on the court, even-handed, has served with distinction. As the only Democrat with 7 Republicans, Justice Spector will keep the court balanced.
I work for you, not the lawyers, not the politicians.
Re-elect Judge Rose Spector.
Now those fantastic restaurant onion creations can be made right in your own home. Introducing the Great American Steakhouse Onion Machine. It's easy, it's fun, and it's oh so onion delicious. Don't confuse the Steakhouse Onion Machine with those hard-to-use plastic gadgets that only do small onions. You start with a nice large onion, trim and clean, then remove the center. Place the onion under the stainless steel blades of your Steakhouse Onion Machine and push down. You'll have a perfect onion creation. Just dip it and cook it in oil or bake it in the oven. In no time, your onion is golden brown delicious, just like they serve it in the restaurant. It's a special treat for the kids and great for your own parties. Call now and get this deep frying basket and colorful recipe book. It's only $19.99. So order your Great American Steakhouse Onion Machine now.
To order the Onion Machine for only $19.99 plus shipping, have your credit card ready and call 1-800-225-9944. Sorry, no CODs.
This is Fox Sports Southwest.
The rain does not bother Reveille 6 because Reveille 6's team is leading 17-6. Fourth quarter, 10:37 left to play in the ball game.
Like the 12th man and the band and kissing your dates, Reveille is part of the tradition and the folklore at Texas A&M.
Can't wait to be there next week.
Exciting place to do a game.
Kyle Field. 3rd down and 9 for the Aggies. Movement on the offensive line. They'll push it back 5 more.
You know, when you get a new quarterback in the game, even though Stewart has played a great deal in his past, the rhythm and the voice is different than the starter.
Prior to snap, false start on the offense, 5-yard penalty, repeat 3rd down.
How about the officials with the short sleeve shirts tonight? They're wet. They're cold. You know, like offensive line. Remember John Kolb with the Steelers and Webster and those guys?
They're nuts. They're nuts.
These guys don't have any jackets on. Ooh. R.C. Slocum off to their best start in a number of years. Now he faces 3rd down and 14. Ball is on the 29-yard line. A&M 287 total yards. 4-man rush. Stewart's pass is complete, close to the 1st down. Derek Spiller, the big tight end. He slid to the 1st down, but I think he hit short. Let's see where they spot it. Now they spotting it. It'll be a 1st down. Great pass by Stewart, who already has a touchdown pass tonight.
Good job by Stewart of reading it. Now what he's going to do, he's going to see a blitz coming up in here, but you're going to see big old Spiller just fight his way off the line of scrimmage and catch the ball inside. This is being physical as a wide receiver. Quote, he's a tight end that was split out in the slot, a wide receiver's position. But it's hard for a DB to come up and jam a big guy like that.
He was 2nd team All Big 12 last year. Toombs bouncing off tackles, getting up to midfield. What a great weapon to have Toombs. And you think about the fullbacks. They lost Mark Broyles. They lost Tiki Hardeman. Jason Bragg is out. Then you have this true freshman out of Kilgore, Texas, a little 3A school. He steps up, no pressure, no problem.
You know, and he was a highly recruited guy. Don't forget, you know, it came down between Texas A&M and Florida State for his services, but he told us last night he wanted to stay a little bit closer to home, and he certainly has not regretted his decision to come to Texas A&M.
I think his family had something to do that. 2nd down and 4 after the pickup of 6. Ball right at midfield. Toombs. Nothing doing. Now it's time for a Dr. Pepper game break, and we take you back to Stanford at UCLA with 8:05 left in the 4th quarter. Deshaun Foster runs it in from the 8. And that gives UCLA the lead at 28-24. Actually, that was a pass. That was earlier that made it 24-14. But UCLA has taken the lead 28-24 in that ball game. Sorry for the mix-up on the highlights, but the Bruins are on top in the 4th.
Seems like Bobby Toledo's club finds a way to win and finds a way to score points when they need them.
Stewart's pass is complete into Oklahoma State territory. Again, it is Derek Spiller, and we talked about this tight ends of Texas A&M, and they're using them effectively now.
And this is what they wanted to do at the beginning of the game, but I felt that they got a little conservative in the first half. Now you're going to see Spiller. He's in here, and he's going to come out here. But watch what happens over here. It ends up being a pick play. Man-to-man coverage. You run 2 receivers inside and the inside receiver out.
You would think that A&M would be a little conservative with the rain, the wind, but they're not. They're throwing safe passes.
But you know what's happening, though, Ron? There's so many guys around the line of scrimmage, they can't generate a consistent running game.
1st down and 10. Oklahoma State 7 on the line of scrimmage, and they stack up Rhodes.
And Oklahoma State is doing a good job tonight of penetrating the offensive line. They're in the backfield a great deal. And, you know, this is a good defensive line from Oklahoma State. They're big, they're athletic, and I think, you know, Johnny Burnett and Rob Ryan, the defensive coaches, do a great job of getting these kids in positions to make plays. And that guy right there calls stunts at the line of scrimmage based on the offensive backfield set. So he's like a coach on the field along with Rob Ryan.
2nd and 10, closing in on 8 minutes to play in the ball game. Try the left side. It is Rhodes again. When you're a defensive coordinator, Artie, you've been a defensive coordinator. You're Rob Ryan now. You're only down by 11. That's not a whole lot. Is it frustrating to see somebody just chip away?
Oh, absolutely. Because most defensive coaches are impatient guys.
No.
Whatever gave you that idea.
I would have guessed that.
Never would have guessed that.
No.
And it drives you nuts because you sit there and you watch the clock tick away. And it seems like it takes forever. It's like you're dying a slow death, so to speak. But there's nothing you can do about it but just get your guys in the best position to make plays, which is exactly what he's doing tonight.
Well, Bob Simmons knows this is a big 3rd down play. You still would have 7 minutes left, and Brandon Stewart wants to talk about it on 3rd down and just over 6. Because if you get the ball back, you still would have time to do something. You're only down by 11.
Well, I think now, though, if you're Oklahoma State, you got to say possession. You know what I'm saying? And don't even look at the clock, the scoreboard yet, but you say, we got to get that pigskin back on our side a little bit here.
Now tonight after the game, the F1 season wraps up on Fox Sports Net, and it'll all come down to this. One last head-to-head battle between Hakkinen and Schumacher as this amazing season comes to a thrilling end in Japan. Mike Joy, Derek Vell, Peter Windsor are standing by in Suzuki, Japan for the Grand Prix of Japan next on Fox Sports Net right after the game. And Schumacher has had a whole year to think about last year. What happened? Not winning the Formula One circuit. He said Hakkinen's had to do all the interviews this year. Schumacher's just sat in his hotel and slept. He's ready for this race, and it's a big one. A lot of money in car racing. Maybe you and I should.
I don't think so. There's a good look at Ray Dorr, the quarterback coach, thinking and making sure his players know exactly what they want them to do. This guy used to be a head coach, and he is one of the most detailed quarterback coaches I've ever been around. He's the only coach I know that when he writes on the board in his meetings, he uses a ruler to make sure that his sentences are straight. I've never seen anything like it. I was kidding him about it. I said, you must be a quarterback coach because you sure as heck are not a defensive line coach or a linebacker coach.
On 3rd down and 7, 7:15 to play. Taylor in motion. 3-step drop looking for Taylor. He's going deep, but Stewart will be dropped by Alton Weaver. His 3rd sack of the year, the senior out of Houston, Texas.
Good rush that time by Weaver. He's athletic. He used to be a basketball player. Just did a great job of coming up the field as we look at Trent Alexander jogging off.
And the defense of Rob Ryan stood up to the challenge, and they will have just over 6.5 when they get the ball back.
And they have plenty of time to go down and score twice, but obviously they can't turn the ball over and allow Texas A&M to play keep away.
Leckler has had a couple of fakes on a field goal and on a punt this year. Probably will play it safe, standing at his 40. Richardson on his 10. Nice high kick. Richardson's going to watch this sail over his head, and that'll be a 50-yarder by Shane Leckler. And Oklahoma State will have 6 minutes and 18 seconds to try to make up an 11-point deficit for the homecoming faithful.
They say for every boy and girl there's just one love in this whole world, and I know I found mine.
Here's an idea. With GTE caller ID, you'll know exactly who's on the line.
Nope, not the kids.
So you can decide whether to pick up or not.
Mom? Dad? Home early. Hello? Is anybody here? Hello?
Room 1203 wants to swim without floaties. Marriott, when you're comfortable, you can do anything.
When the night has